You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Happy Thursday, gentlemen.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
It's Thursday, July 25th, and you're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about
How we game?
I'm Carlos,
I'm Rob.
I'm Wayne.
and we're missing Mike tonight.
Yeah.
No, Mike.
It's all right. We got you covered, buddy.
We'll carry on.
You know what? We'll just get right in. We'll start this episode off. This episode is dedicated to friend of the show, our close personal friend, Lonnie Kitchen, who passed away this past week. We want to remind you to continually pray for his wife and for his family as they deal with the loss of Lonnie. The GoFundMe is linked into the show for those that want to support the family. The Beans and Dice, before we were even Beans and Dice, we were much friends with Lonnie. Lots of games, lots of great memories. He was a mentor to me. He's a Christian brother, a brother in Christ. And whenever I had a need, he was always there texting. Like, it seemed like he always knew. He'd be just texting me, "How you doing?" And then I'd be like, "Listen, brother, I need his prayers on this."
Yeah.
And he was there for me. We'll be at his services this weekend,
Saturday, yeah.
Saturday at 11 o'clock in Lutz. We're going to be his memorial services. So it's going to be, I hate these, Rob,
Yeah.
because it's so bittersweet because there's so many people that you rarely get to see, but that like you catch up with at these moments.
Yeah.
And I know that like Muhammad will be there.
Haven't seen him in a while.
Right. And it's like, I'm looking forward to seeing him and to having those conversations, but what a terrible way to make that happen.
Get together. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, Lonnie, great guy. He was one of the originals who used to hang out with us at Armada, at Cool Stuff when we used to game over there. He'd hang out in the parking lots with us after hours and chat about the games we had played and talk about life. And I know you got into more of the Christian side of things with him in the family a little bit. But yeah, I mean, he's tough guy. It's the second service I'm going to have to go to this year for somebody from the Big C, passing away from cancer. So definitely not a cool thing. Yeah.
We are not promised tomorrow. Hug somebody you love today. Like that's like the big message I got out of it. Is it can happen so fast.
Yep.
Thank y'all for letting me get that out. On the good note, on the fun notes, because Lonnie would want us to continue to celebrate his life, right? Not mourn, but celebrate his life. We know that he trusted in the Lord. I know where he will be. I know I will be playing some more Commands and Colors with him when I make it to heaven. So I know he would want us to celebrate. Today's show is going to be about the White Castle. The White Castle, the Euro-type game. We're going to give you the beans on that. I know I've been getting a lot more plays in than these guys, but these guys have got a few plays now.
Yeah.
So we are prepared to give you good enough to give you the beans.
Some initial impressions, at least. Yeah, we played twice each, Wayne and I, and then Carlos has played a bunch.
I'm liking this one. Spoilers.
Yep.
And then we'll talk a little bit about news and games that we've played. I know that we had 2 weeks ago said we were going to update our board for Dice Towers plays.
Keep pushing it.
But it took 2 weeks just to get through talking about Dice Tower.
Dice Tower East, yeah.
Because, we do a 2-hour show and we take calls, so we're interrupted. So we didn't get through that part. Next week is supposed to be when we update the board on the schedule anyway.
Yeah.
So we're making the decision to hold back our Dice Tower plays, our July plays for Dice Tower.
Push back one more week.
And we're just going to do all of July on the first week of August, which is going to be next week's show. We'll update you all on all of our plays for July, update the boards, be prepared for lots of magnets and Sharpies.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was a lot of games played in July.
I've got a stack of them already. Yeah.
I think just from Dice Tower, I've got 7 new games in my top 20, and
Nice.
probably 2 or 3 more already since. And then I've got a game day this weekend where I know I'm playing a game that's going to be in my top 5 probably. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I know we talked about our plays in July or in Dice Tower, right? In the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was leading up to Dice Tower. I felt like I was in a lull. Like I was in a work heavy, kids ending the school year, like a lull in May.
Mm-hmm.
And then June kind of played maybe a few games. I don't even think I added but one game to the board.
Yeah.
And then July was like, all right,
charts.
I do love board games.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And I've played so many more. I think I played more games since I got back from Dice Tower than I did at Dice Tower.
Oh,
Yeah, not quite for me,
quite,
but
yeah.
I played quite a few games.
Quite a few,
in July.
yeah. Rob and I got together at the Tampa Gaming Guild, and
TGG.
you got together with Jodak and some other folks recently. So,
Last
yeah.
night,
Lots of games getting
I'm
played. Yeah.
playing again tomorrow night, and then I'm playing again probably on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to some games.
So just look forward to next week's episode, first week in August. We will talk to you about our top 20 boards and how July has just completely changed the whole thing.
Yep. Take half of them off. Let's replace them.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think I might hit 10.
Mine's going to be about
changes.
half. About half.
All right, we got about 25 minutes to run through the beans here. We're going to give you the beans on the White Castle. The White Castle, it is a Euro-type game published by Navigator.
Euro type. He can't bring himself to say a Euro. It's a Euro type. Kind of Euro. I like it, so it can't be just
It can't be
Euro.
just Euro.
Yeah.
It's got to be Euro-type.
There's dice
There's
in it.
dice.
Yeah, there's dice.
Shay S. and Isra C. are listed as the designers on the box. Joanne Guardier is the artist. This is a game in the series from Devier, same designer group as the Red Cathedral, which I think Robert has played, and
Yep,
I
one
stayed
time.
away from. Nothing ever drew me to that game.
Yeah, Mitchell taught me that at Dice Tower East year before last. Yep.
Spoilers, though, I'm now interested in playing it. Like if I'm having this much fun with the successor,
Different. Very different.
is it really?
Oh yeah, way different.
Okay.
Tile placement. Yeah.
This one's published in 2023. Am I right? I think Wayne's got the.
Sounds right.
Yeah, 2023.
Yep. Okay.
All right, so the beans. The beans are how we review. BEANS. The basics, enjoyment, aesthetics, which encompasses the art and the components. Right, it's just the overall looks of this game, and then we'll talk about our negatives, and then finally we'll give you our summary on do we recommend it for other gamers. Right, so do we think you should buy it, try it, or deny it? That's usually how we summarize it at the end. The basics. So to win, you must gain influence in the court by placing your clan members in the castle, gardens, and training fields of the White Castle. This Euro game uses resource management, worker placement, and dice placement. Dice are plucked from bridges where the dice are organized from lowest to highest, and whenever you take the lowest value dice, the one all the way on the left, it provides you additional bonuses known as the lantern. Placing dice is restricted by color and by value. So whenever you place a dice that is lower than the required amount for that spot, for that location, you're actually going to have to pay money to make up the difference. These are D6s, so it ranges between 1 and 6 on the spots. If you place a die that's higher than the required amount on that spot, you actually gain money. And then all of this must be done over the course of 9 total actions in the game. 9 total actions in the game, which are divided up in 3 rounds. So 3 actions for 3 rounds, totaling just what?
9.
9? 9. 9. 9 actions.
Not enough.
No.
Did I miss anything on the basics?
No,
No, you got it. Yeah, it's a good recap.
I wrote that down so we try to make that one fast.
Yeah, you did.
Because I know I ramble when I do basics.
Yeah, that's pretty much the game in a nutshell. It's a Euro game. I mean, there are dice in it, but I mean the dice you're just rolling them. Everybody's working off the same pool of dice, so it's not like you're going to be penalized individually
Yeah,
for a bad roll.
You can basically use any die anywhere. It's just
Yeah.
you have the money to cover it or gain money. So there's a lot of like mitigation of those die rolls.
Yep.
So it's not kind of really lucky.
Yeah, that money aspect for the mitigation, I think, is a huge mechanism in this game, which Robert says he's seen it before, and I was trying to remember what game he said he saw it in. Marco Polo,
Marco Polo. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Marco
where you can pay the difference to
Yeah.
trigger it, but it's also the gaining of the money. Because I don't remember seeing that, where if I place a die higher than what's required, I get something back.
Yeah.
So it just adds that additional decision space.
Marco Polo, you have to go higher, and then you pay the difference. So it's a combination of the two, but not getting. It's always giving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so that's Marco Polo. It seems like there's another game I remember playing that did it. But
trying
I
to
can't
think of it.
remember. Yeah, I don't think Rajas of the Ganges does that. They use dice placement in that, but I don't think there's anything with the placement and the numbers on that. So
Because seeing those high numbers, it makes me consider doing things like going to lower spaces just to gain money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's very interesting. So let's talk about the enjoyments.
Yeah.
E for enjoyments. What did we enjoy about the game? I did the beans. We'll go across the table to Rob.
Okay.
We made a little Wayne sandwich tonight for the show.
Yeah. Well, I like the. We get into aesthetics a little bit. The components are nice, so we'll touch more on it in aesthetics. I won't get too deep, but the components, nice, big, chunky wooden bits. I like those. The little bridges look cool. It's got a nice table presence. So I think again that gets a little more in aesthetics and in that part. But that makes me happy. It brings me enjoyment.
I'm actually surprised.
Yeah,
that is not. I was not expecting that to be your first enjoyment.
Now aesthetics are coming out now. Yeah, but I like that. It's a Euro. I mean, I love my Euros. I mean, it's a
pretty Euro.
It is a thinky game. I mean, we all. I would say we were fairly quiet in our 2 plays of this. I mean, we played the twice now with the 3 of us, and there's a lot of thinking on your turn. So there's a good amount of depth on the turn, and so being a Euro, I enjoy that part of it. Yeah. So that's probably my favorite parts.
For enjoyment, I think it's simple in that there's you take a die, you place a die, and then the iconography, once you get it, it's all pretty consistent. So it's a kind of Euro that you can teach very easily to anybody that's a gamer at least, but there's a complexity there is because you only get 9 turns, and so you have to maximize. You have to squeeze every little bit of bonus out of those 9 actions, and so there's an enjoyment there of, okay, I have to min-max this to the hilt. There can be no downturns in this game, and so it's very tight and it's very quick. So I enjoy the fact that this is a Euro experience, and the 3 of us played in less than an hour. Yeah. And if we played it a couple more times, it'd be 45 minutes. So as much as I sometimes like those big 4-hour games, like we played Hegemony this past weekend. Yeah. It was 4 hours. That was a lot of fun. But a lot of times I would rather play 3 White Castles to 1 Hegemony.
Sure.
On a given game day to get volume in as far as repetition of games. So I enjoy that. I enjoy that you can get the Euro experience in under an hour. It's relatively simple, so you can kind of crank through it. So that's my enjoyment.
I think I heard somebody say it. I can't remember what podcast I was listening to today. They said simple but not simplistic. So simple, like chess is simple, right? But it is not simplistic. There's depth, there's strategy, there's much more to it than just the simple rules. When I think about this game, the first enjoyment I think about is the combo tastics. This one gives me those moments out of those 9 actions, at least 3 of great moments in the game of that was a good combo. Look what I did there. Like witness me. I'm all Nick Oben. Witness me.
You did that, actually. You said
this last game, I got to enjoy that a few times. Like there were a few moments of like, wow, I cannot believe I got that to combo out. And then I asked myself, how did no one else see it? But then I think about it at the end of the day, nobody was in the position that I was in, right? Having the amount of iron that I had at that moment to be able to trigger 3 warriors being able to be placed out in 1 action. Yeah. Those kind of moments, those combo moments really stand out.
Yeah. Agree. So should we move on to aesthetics?
Oh, no, there's more enjoyment here.
Oh, you got more enjoyment. Okay. You took a pause there. Huh?
I think the rule book is well done. Mm-hmm. It's a simple read. It's I don't think I walked away after reading the rules with any question.
Who reads rules?
Oh, I do. I love rule books.
All right.
We weren't going to have any... my goal was not to have any Lonnie moments, right? Mm-hmm. When we forget to teach you a rule.
To the last round of the game.
To the last round of the game, and that rule helps me win.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's a Lonnie moment. Yep. That's what Lonnie's known for. But there was one rule in there that I just couldn't figure out why they wrote it the way they did. And it had to do with the gardener action and only taking 1 action per turn in the gardeners, which didn't make sense to me because at the end of the day, there's only going to be 1 gardener piece of yours on each spot.
Each card, yeah.
But an event triggered in this game, that would have allowed me, or I thought I could have done an action twice, but then it brought me back to that 1 bolded rule, which it sells how well they did at writing that rule book to come up with those instances. I don't think I've yet, in all my plays of this, have had to go to BGG to search for a rule to say, how does this play out? There's an FAQ in the back. There's iconography on all the symbols in the back, like a legend. Is that what we call it, a legend?
Sure.
To show you all the icons and what they do. Right. There's my enjoyments. It's a good game. It's solid.
Leave that for the summer.
Okay. Aesthetics.
Aesthetics.
Start with Wayne on this
Start
one.
with Wayne. So yeah, it's the artwork is very pretty. The color just pops. The pieces and components are all good. One of the aesthetics I think is somewhat of a negative, so I'll save that for the negatives. But in general, though, the iconography is very clear. The board's very clear. The pieces are all great. And as far as aesthetics, I think we talk about the box size, which I'll save, let Carlos do most of that. But I love the concept of a good meaty midweight Euro that's in a tiny box. Clans of Caledonia is very heavy and it's in a tiny box. New Bedford is in a small box. Like the idea that you can put a lot of substance in a small container. And I know Sam, I think in our Discord has said that she's going to send a very strongly worded email about their box size because she doesn't like how small they are. But I love it because I am max to the hilt on like similar to Carlos here, max to the hilt on size. So the small box size was a huge aesthetic for me. But the artwork's gorgeous. Love it. Carlos?
I have to second the box size component. That's literally what sold me on the game. This is not a game that I was not aware of. This is a game that I was highly aware of. Highly aware of all the talk about it. Highly aware about it being a full-on Euro, right? That's what they called it, the full-on Euro. It's a Euro game.
Yeah.
And I was at the Dice Tower. We were walking the exhibitor hall, and on the table was the lid and the game set up. And I'm talking about like a bar-style, small, round tabletop. And I asked the lady and the gentleman there, is that it? Like, this is the whole setup. Yep, and that's the actual box it comes in. Yep, I'll take it, please. Right, like that's
that easy.
Because at the end of the day, I'm a huge fan of small, portable. I can throw this in my backpack. Games. I was willing to shell out the $40 to figure out, is it even a good game? Right, because it's not going to take up much space. Yep. I can haul this home. It isn't going to be a Arc Nova sized game that I got to find a place to put it. I feel I'm getting as much out of this game package than I would out of like a much larger Euro.
Yeah, like a ticket to ride size box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Aesthetics for me, I mentioned the chunky pieces, these cool little bridges, little cardboard bridges. You build them once, and then you can leave them set up, from what I understand. The player boards are not dual layered, but they are inset, so everything kind of goes down on. You need a table or something underneath that's flat surface, but they kind of go in and slot in. The cards, if I remember, are linen. Are they linen finish cards? I seem to think.
I did not sleeve them. I don't think they're linen finished,
okay.
but they didn't feel.
They're more like
cheap.
white core.
Oh,
like
okay.
nice,
they don't feel like cheap cards. They're decent quality cards.
But we're really not using them a lot, so I'm not worried about them. Notice I didn't even sleeve these yet.
Yeah. They're
because
nice.
I'm not worried about them.
They're smaller, smallish,
half size.
Yeah, form factor there, so that they again kind of fit the fit in the box. I guess that's part of it. Is all space concerning and fit on the board nice. Yeah, I mean, all around the components for this game are nice. They look nice. All the little soldiers and the little courtiers all stacked up on your board, lined up in
What about
rows.
the UI? So I know I poo-pooed some of the Darwin Journeys of Darwin.
Darwin's Journey.
Darwin's Journey.
There you go. Yep.
I poo-pooed some of the UI on there, the user interface. What are your thoughts on how the graphic design was on this one?
Oh, pretty good. I mean, it's once you.
Yeah, a little bit. I struggled a little bit with like, okay, this triggers the thing. Okay, so now I go up there to the bird track. Now the bird track, I got to pay a thing to move past the one area. So, whether you have to pay a thing or you've got a thing, I guess you set me straight in this one that the red means you pay.
Red left.
Red left pays, right.
Right, black.
Black means
gains.
you get. Although there was black on the left, because there were some places you go to a spot and there'd be two different icons, and so it would be in black plus one coin or whatever. So you actually get that, and then you get to do the whale action or whatever after. So sometimes black was on the left. I remember there was one particular card. So yeah, I don't know the left and right thing necessarily, but the red and the black definitely was get and give. So. So I don't know. There was a couple of spots that, and again, trying to remember how to get the castle action. You either have to find an action on the board, or you've got that one spot down there in the corner that you have to go to. So once you learn it, a second play now, I think I've got it down.
I would think though, as far as like most Euros, the iconography. It's like the first play you're learning it, and then after that you got it down. So it's not like there are some Euros where like I could play that game 10 times, and I'm like, what the heck is that icon for again?
Yeah,
like,
it's not overly bad, but yeah. It wasn't quite as intuitive as some, but yeah.
Bridges were a pain in the butt to put together.
Oh, were they?
I will say that.
I'd throw those damn things out.
I'm thinking about it.
3D print
I'm
them or something?
honestly thinking about it. So let's talk. I mean, aesthetics talks about componentry, right?
Yeah.
They're cool.
Well, that's my negative. One of my negatives is the
We'll go to the ends. Are we done with the aesthetics?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
We're happy with it. Good art.
Yeah.
Overall, good design. But now into the negatives. Wayne, start us off.
All right. Well, so my negatives, I have 2 that I'll put out there, and one of them is all the bridges. And while they're cool, they're unnecessary. Right, and why they're unnecessary is I've seen you struggle putting it all. But the benefit of the small box is it's tiny and the entire game fits in the box. The downside is you have to jigsaw puzzle everything back in, right? And if you got rid of the bridges, then you would have no problem putting it all back in,
right?
And so I would just kind of 3D print a lower, like a style of that bridge that's more flat.
Or say if you just take the rails off it, it's just a flat surface, isn't it?
Yeah, but then it falls apart.
But
it's printed on the board.
Okay.
The bridges are not mandatory at all. So on the board, there's actually a printed bridge.
Oh, then there you go.
And there's actually like little silhouettes of people walking the bridge. Japanese folks walking the bridge.
So I would probably just leave the bridges out, and as far as because if it does make it a little harder to put them back in the box and get it all back in there. So the negative would be I've seen you struggle putting this game away twice, and those damn bridges are popping up, and you're so that's a negative. It's a very nitpicky negative, but it's like those bridges were kind of not even necessary. If you're going to print it on the board, then why do I need the 3D bridge?
Because miniatures?
Yeah, whatever. People 3D print their own then, right? Or something like that.
Would you burn your bridges?
Yeah. Cardboard, right? My other negative is also kind of like a positive and a negative. This game is short, right? It's 9 turns, and it goes really quick. So you have to maximize every turn. I've said that already. But I think like in this game, there was in the second round, I ended up being 3rd. And there was 1 spot on the board. And the good thing, kind of a good thing about the game is there are variability. So the spaces kind of change because the cards flip over as people remove them. And then what the die type can change. And so based on that setup, and in any given round, you can have a card flip that makes 1 spot like epic. Where like you guys both got it because you were 1st and 2nd. You both went to the spot that fired white dice. You took the 2 white dice, stacked them up, and it gave you guys both like really good first opening salvo turns in the second round. And then there was just nothing left. There was other things for me to catch up, but it was just not nearly as good. Not even close.
And we watched Wayne stare at those 2 stacked white dice.
Oh, yeah. Blocked out.
So,
knowing that he can't go there.
Yeah, so there is a negative that because this game is so short, if there happens to be a turn where the 2 people that you're playing with, or 3 people, probably a 3 or 4 player game, or even 2 player, that spot is just so much better than every other spot that's currently on the board, and you miss out on it, you're going to be behind. And if you're behind in this game, it is really hard to catch up. I can see this game not being a runaway leader because it was fairly close, but there was just like you won by like 12 points or something like that over Rob. Rob had me by like 1 or 2. So it was with it 14 points. But that 14-point difference is huge in this game because they're so tight. And that turn, like that second round, that first turn in the second round, I was just like, yep, I'm gonna join this game, but I'm not going to win this game, right? And that could be a little bit of a negative if you're looking at like, man, if I didn't get that spot, I'm done. So, but that happens in a lot of games, so it's not a super bad negative, but because this game is so short, I think it amplifies it a bit. And I think, Rob, you had that same problem in the first game we played, right?
Yeah, that was my number 1 negative of the game and I mentioned it after we got done this time, but in the first one, I felt like I got behind, and then I was trying to catch up, and I couldn't quite find the right combinations to give me the big turn that Carlos is talking about, where he did several combos, and it felt really good. I felt like I was always just like 1 coin short of being able to pull off the cool thing, or 1 food short of, being able to do exactly what I wanted to do, and so it was frustrating being behind and then not being able to find that combination. And I was in the 3-player game. In that first time we played, I was constantly last. I was constantly 3rd. In this game, I was constantly 1st or 2nd. So it felt good going 1st or 2nd, having access to everything, having that whole board. I mean, I guess one alternative to that is you've got that crane track or the bird track. If you're in third, you want to get out of third. You got to find actions to get you out of third. So they're out there, but. Anyway, then if you're doing that, you're not getting points. You're not getting resources.
But I think you guys had both moved up 2 or 3 on that spot.
Yeah.
So for me to get back to going anything with, I would have to
a big move,
4 or 5 cranes to get up there. Yeah.
Yeah, but the shortness was my other. I mentioned it after this game that I feel after playing this twice now, I like my Euros, my medium to heavy. This is a medium weight Euro, I would say. It's not a light Euro. It's not heavy, but it's not light. But I like my medium to heavyweight Euros longer. I know these guys really liked it short. They're like, hey, you just play it and you reset it. 45 minutes, you knock it out. You can just do it again. When I'm playing a Euro, I like to get into the Euro, and this one feels like it ends a little bit too quick for me, time-wise and turn-wise. They say the 9 turns, you really got to make those 9 turns count. And that's true. You really can't mess up. You can't have a bad turn. You can't place a bad die. Because if you do, then you feel like you're behind and you're having to catch up. So again, I guess 45 minutes you can reset it and do it again. Usually for me, I'm done with this game. I move on to another one. So if I'm playing a heavier, medium to heavy Euro, I'd rather have some more turns. I'd have it be longer. I want to have more time to think about what I'm doing, to try to put together a strategy, trigger my engine more times, make the things work. 45 minutes and 9 turns, I feel like it's right as it's starting to get good for me on that 8th or 9th turn. I'd like to have more of that good feeling that pulling off those combos.
Wonder if we play this game out again once, play it one more time, and add a whole other round.
How
fourth round.
much would that change it?
Yeah, if we did a 4th round, so 12 turns, how much would that change?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it feels like when you're into your second turn is when you're starting to really pluck your clan members off your board, right? So you're getting them out onto the board. Well, what does that do? That opens up the benefits that you get for using your board action. So you're getting more resources on your board action, right?
Yep.
So here you are ending the second turn, second round, and your board is now ready and primed for you to reap all the resources out of it. But you can't.
3 turns left.
Because you only got 3 turns left, so you need to get everything onto the board to be able to get to the right action spots.
I feel like in the last game, the game we played tonight, in the 9 turns, I think I played a die on my board once. I think maybe you once.
I did once or twice, yeah.
I think you
most.
Once,
No. I continued to.
He may have
because I had
times,
set up a system.
Oh, yeah.
I had pulled
He's clearing a bunch
the
of guys
clan
off.
members off my board. So imagine a row of, I believe it's 6 to 8 meeples standing up. And when they're standing in their row, they're covering up resource spots. As you take them off, you reveal those resource spots. So whenever you take that die action on your board, you're going to get a number of resources equal to what's been revealed. Well, I did it so that at a certain point, there's a lantern icon. So now my middle action, my iron action, the action that gave me iron, had a lantern. Well, my lantern, which is my bonus system that I have at the bottom, was built to, number 1, move the heron, number 2, give me points. So I wanted to trigger that as much as possible. So I spent money to do my board actions more so I can trigger more lanterns, triggering more points.
Right. Yeah.
Wayne never really dug into his lantern action.
Yeah,
I don't even think you upgraded it until like halfway through the second round.
Yeah, that's probably a mistake.
Yeah. I did that earlier this time because I didn't do it until later last time, and I felt again that kind of felt bad, and so I was like, I need to get some cards, upgrade that lantern action, do that a few times.
But I didn't do the lantern very much in the first game either. But I had a money engine going that kind of offset that, I think. And
offset the resources that you get from the lantern.
Yeah. So it was good.
Negative for me is it's still a worker placement / dice placement type game, which means there will be times in the game where all the good spots are taken. Because it's dice placement, so you're restricted by where you can place the dice color-wise as well as power, like the numerical value. There's going to be times where there's no good place for me to go.
Yep.
Now, there's always the well action. The well action is always available to you. Any number of people can go take a well action, which is a daimyo seal and 2 resources, depending on what randomly showed up there. But that feels like if I did that, I know I messed something up.
That's a huge loss.
But every game has had no less than 2 moments out of those 9 actions, 2 actions where I felt like this sucks. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do.
But even then, in both those actions, you were still able to place on the board and not do the well. You did something else and fired the well. I
don't think any of us ever went to just the well.
No one in 2 games now. No one's ever gone to just the well. I don't think you.
First game, I think Carlos did once because I remember him doing it.
Well, because I think I used a 6 to get $5 and get the well action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
that was my negative. In summary, so we're right on time. Look at that. Look at that.
Got
Man.
Efficiency.
Yeah, efficiency. In summary, so I'm the guy who bought it, so I'm just gonna go out there. It was not given it to us. It was not donated by anyone. I purchased this. I know that skews. I have that the bias.
Don't want the buyer remorse. Yeah.
Right.
But we also didn't get it for free from a
But I
company,
think
so.
it was worth it. I really believe the $40 that I got out of this game and the plays that I've had to it today, if I lost this game right now, if it just grew legs and walked out of my house, I got my money's worth. I totally got my money's worth in the enjoyment, in the thinkiness. I think this is my second win, so it's not like I win every time, but it is buy. This is and I'm not a heavy Euro gamer. I will not say that this is a heavy Euro. I will say it's more of a medium weight Euro.
Yep.
With a lot of decisions, and because of the random setup, there's so many random
There's variable
things that
there.
are being set up. The variable setup. There's so many variable things that the game will be different every time. There'll always be different options than last time. It's worth it. It's a buy.
And there's an expansion coming out this year.
Already? I hate expansions. Because I get suckered into them, but I never use them.
I know. Rob, do you want to go next?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I'll piggyback on that a little bit. The value for you mentioned the $40. It's a great value. At $65, I'm not sure. I think in that case it would definitely be a try for me. At $40, I think it's still kind of on that borderline of try or buy. If you're a definite Euro fan and you're looking for a Euro in 45 minutes once you learn it, I think it's a buy. I don't think there's been too many Euro games that I would really call Euro games that play in under an hour. And so if you're looking for that, if that's your niche, I think it's a buy, especially at $40. I think that's a steal. If you're a heavier Euro gamer and you're looking at Lacerdas and stuff like that, this is going to feel very entry level. When you're playing like heavy Euros, this will feel pretty light. So for those more experienced gamers, again, for $40 though, it's tough, and the components and stuff that you get in there, and even if you only play it a handful of times for $40,
Take me home, Robert.
Yeah,
Take
there
me
you go.
home.
So for me, it's going to be on the borderline of a try to buy, depending on what you're looking for in a Euro game. But if you're a Euroer and you're looking for variety and you want a lighter, quicker Euro, I'd say it's probably a buy. But for me, I think a try. Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm somewhere in between as well. I think if I had played this at Dice Tower East, I would have gone over to the DeVere booth and bought it. Right? Just like play it. Oh, I'm going to buy it. Now that I'm home and it's not right there. And again, I have 500, 600 games in my collection. I'm not necessarily looking to add a game unless it absolutely blows me away. And this doesn't do that, right? So, but if I am still building my collection or I'm looking for that, like you said, that 45-minute to an hour Euro, this is absolutely a buy at the price too. Like $40. Like that, kid me, that's great. Yeah. Like, especially, I think what makes it a buy for me as a recommendation is that how many games now are 60, 70, $80? So to get a game with this production value for $40 that doesn't take up a lot of shelf space, I think that makes it a buy. Personally, it's more of a try. Like, I don't think I'm going to be running out to buy this, but I might still pick it up at some point. As soon as I cull some other games from my collection, this might come in because of the space. And DeVere has a whole bunch of games in this box size, right? So you could you could buy 5 or 6 and kind of really save space. So yeah, it definitely is kind of a try moving towards buy. Highly recommended if you're a Euro player.
What stinks for me is this game is going to take up a slot. Now, I don't get rid of games anyway, so I might as well not lie. Yeah. The slot that it takes up for me is Furnace. So Furnace to me was that weeknight, thinky, Euro-ish game that I could play in an hour or so, right? Easy setup, play it on a weeknight, and still feel like I made a lot of decisions in a game. White Castle has taken that over by a mile. Like, to me, this blows Furnace out of the water for the feels.
Yeah.
And Furnace, to me, was my go-to, hey, Melissa, you want to play a quick game tonight, like a weeknight game? And now I see, we played last night, my wife and I think it was last night, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
From setup to teardown, it was less than an hour.
Nice.
Awesome.
After dinner.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
No. And it scales very well because it takes away the stacking at 2 players. So Beans and Dice, that's our review. We've got one buy-ish, and a second buy-ish.
Yeah, buy-ish. I would recommend as a buy for anyone that's adding to their collection and likes Euros. Absolutely.
So that gets us to the open phone lines. 813-618-7099 is the number. We'll open up our phone lines and let you tell us why you think we're wrong. What you think about the White Castle, if you have any thoughts, or you can just take over the show and do whatever you want.
Take over the show.
Don't forget, dedicating the show to our buddy Lonnie. Lonnie Kitchen in the link if you want to help donate to his family to help his wife and family get through this situation, and prayers are much appreciated. Let's see. That was White Castle.
Yep, not much chat so far tonight, but we hope everyone that's out there is chatting it up, and certainly give us a thumbs up, like button, all that,
Yeah, I'm going to need to snip that segment out and just put it at his own own review. I think Chad Stilson last week said he wants to see more reviews from us, so I'll need to separate that one out.
Cool.
News-wise, go into the news.
Start with the spiel.
Hit the spiel, Wayne.
Spiel is yours.
You're more aware.
Well, so yeah, they announced the winners of the spiel. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
I do know one of the games that I thought would win, which I thought was a long shot for it to win, took the win. Spiel des Jahres 2024 really stepped out of its norm, I think, on this main pick.
Yeah, I mean, so the Spiel des Jahres is, for those of you who don't know, it's the German board game of the year, and it's their family game of the year.
Right, like, isn't that what it means?
Kind of, yeah, or just
game of the year.
Game of the year, but to them, I mean, I think where people here judge that is they forget that, like, German game culture is totally different than here. Like, they play way more board games as a family than lots. Here it's like, the dads go and we do this show, we get together, we play games. But in Germany, it's like the whole family's gaming. And the Spiel des Jahres has gotten less and less over time as far as heavier games because of the diversity out there. And so the last few years, people have been kind of like, this game's not heavy enough, or this game's not crazy enough. And then this year is even crazier. Sky Team wins it, and it's a 2-player game. Yeah. So first time a 2-player game won it. So the 3 games that were nominated were In the Footsteps of Darwin, which we've talked about this on the show a bunch. Yep. It's a great game. Captain Flip, which I've played a bunch recently on BGA, and I'm enjoying it, but it is super light, very light. And then Sky Team, which kind of took the buzz and the storm the last year. A lot of people have been talking about it. We played a bunch on BGA. We played a bunch in person.
Yeah.
It won, and so that the cool thing is, they're going to sell 100,000 copies of Sky Team now, or more, in Germany alone, probably. Yeah. And they announced their expansion right before the award was announced, so they're going to be rolling in it. But I think it's interesting because there was the Game Schooler podcast they were talking about this, and they're like, how is, if this game, the Spiel des Jahres, is a family game of the year, how is it a 2-player game, right? And I mean, but you just talked about it, Carlos. You and Melissa play 2-player games during the week, right? My wife and I play 2-player games during the week.
Well, I taught this one to Melissa at Sky Team, and the first thing I got back was that was too stressful.
It's definitely stressful.
Yeah.
Like, games are supposed to be fun, right? And she's all about, hey, let's get White Castle back to the table. But Sky Team was like, it was too stressful. Yeah. Which to me is why it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Because I've been in a small plane Cessna with a buddy of mine who's a pilot who helped coach me through different portions of a flight. When I managed the roller rink, he was a pilot locally. Our owner of the roller rink had a rink in Vero Beach and in Tampa. We would fly to Vero, pick him up in the Cessna, and fly him back to Tampa. So we would fly to Albert Whitted in Clearwater and go roller skating and then come back. Like, those are the types of things that would happen, right? I know the work it takes to land a plane. It felt real. Like, the stress that I felt in a plane, Sky Team did a great job of giving you that cockpit feel with the dials and the switches and the flaps and, like, making sure you're doing everything in order because your life is on the line, like, when you're coming down. So to me, this is a hit.
I mean, I don't think I've not found anyone that didn't like this game. But I'll say that about the other two games. I've yet to find anyone who didn't enjoy Footsteps of Darwin and Captain Flip either. Everyone enjoys all three. So I think this year's set of 3 picks were all really good picks. I just thought it was interesting that a 2-player game won. But I think it speaks to the changes in the pandemic and people playing solo games, people playing games in their family, and your family can be just you and your kid or you and your wife or, partner or whatever that is. So I thought that was good. I thought they were all good games. The side note here, this is the 4th time in the last 60 years that a cooperative game has won the Spiel des Jahres.
4th time
in 6 years.
So 4 out of 6.
Yep. So you have Micro Macro Crime City in 2021, Just One in 2019, Dorf Romantic in 2023, and now Sky Team this year. So 4 of the last 6 years, a cooperative game has been the Spiel des Jahres.
I can see that. Family game of the year. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me. And I never played Captain Flip. I played the other 2, and Sky Team was pretty easily my choice. Sky, that whole pressure, that whole angst that you get, the non-speaking, non-communication portions of the game being so tense, really makes this a fun game for me.
I just didn't think that they would pick the two-player game. I thought it was going to be Footsteps of Darwin because of the production value and just how kind of educational it is, and it is a family game. Captain Flip, to me, was just way too simple. Captain Flip could almost have been a kid's game.
Darwin plays up to 4, is it?
To 4, I think.
5.
5.
Darwin is... Don't sleep on Darwin, y'all.
Yeah.
Do not sleep on Darwin. I really think it had the best chance of winning.
Yeah, I think it's Sky Team and Footsteps of Darwin were neck and neck.
I think Sky Team to me was more of a long shot because of its two-player nature.
Right.
Yeah.
But you telling me that stat about the co-op, I think that is what really probably
pushed it over.
It over the limit.
Yep.
Because I think Darwin is we're not talking Darwin's Journey. We're talking In the Footsteps of Darwin by We Are Sorry, We Are French.
French.
Yeah, there you go.
Love that name.
Which I think we gave this one the beans.
We did.
Not too long ago.
Yeah.
Man, I got to get those pulled off and separated out before those episodes get deleted. All right, back to the show. Because it's not a co-op, I think that's what hurt In the Footsteps of Darwin. I can kind of see being simplistic to some folks, right? And then having a little bit of random elements. Well, not a little bit, a lot of random elements when you talk about the theories in the game. If you just draw a good theory that you've already accomplished, in other words, a ticket, right? And Ticket to Ride, like you draw it, and already got that route, right? Like the theories could do that. You could do that, so I can see why that would hurt it. I just thought that was more, I guess, coming from my side of the house, where a family is 7 people, right? Like that's what we have in the Cabrera house. Yeah. A 2-player game doesn't feel like family game of the year,
right? Yep. We got Aaron Clark in here said didn't initially buy the Buzz and Sky Team. I don't think I did either. But then once played it, very impressive, great design, feels really unique. I think what struck me was the stress of it.
Yeah.
The first time we played it on BGA, I was texting him. I'm like, I know we're playing this asynchronous on BGA, and I'm like, oh God, please don't put that die. Don't put that die. But it's cool.
And once you play with somebody a little bit, you kind of learn the communication, the nonverbal, and I place this die, which should give you that indication. So it's a game that playing it more, you can get better at it for sure.
Yep. And then
what were the other categories?
So the Kenner Spiel des Jahres, which is the gamer's game, so the heavier game.
Yeah.
I think this started back in 2011, so it's only been around for like 12, 13 years. I think the Spiel des Jahres goes all the way back to like the 80s. So for the Kenner Spiel des Jahres, were nominated was the Guild of Merchant Explorers, which we've all played.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Daybreak, which none of us have played, and Ticket to Ride Legacy, which none of us have played. Interesting enough, 2 of those 3 games designed by Matt Leacock.
Yep.
So that's kind of
back to that weighting of cooperative games.
Right.
I don't know if it's a European thing. I don't know if it's just the Spiel folks thing, but it seems like they're weighting heavy towards cooperatives.
Yep. So the winner of this one is Daybreak.
Oh, a cooperative.
Is it?
Oh, shocking.
Is Daybreak cooperative?
It's Matt Leacock. Does he do anything but cooperative?
I don't know that one's cooperative, though.
Cooperatively, yeah.
Oh, is it cooperative?
Never mind.
It's Matt Leacock. It's synonymous with a cooperative game.
Well, yeah, because you also have Ticket to Ride Legacy. But that's not cooperative. Yeah, never mind.
Was that Leacock?
Yeah.
Ticket to Ride Legacy?
Yep.
Oh,
He
okay.
worked
So
on
he
it.
does
worked on
do.
it. He does.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's stretched.
Well, no, it was the legacy aspect because he'd done pandemic.
Oh, okay, I
legacy
see.
and
They
stuff,
use
yeah.
his pandemic legacy skills
Yeah.
to bring the legacy aspect to Ticket to
Yeah,
Ride.
so Daybreak cooperatively decarbonize the planet and create resilient societies. So it's all about
It's
being
pandemic, but save the planet
save the
Yeah.
planet
in a
yeah.
different way.
I think the theme had a lot to do with that. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I think the issue with Ticket to Ride Legacy is a legacy game. I don't know if that wins it. Right, it's Ticket to Ride, so it's basically the same rules that have been around for 25 years now. And then the Guild of Merchant Explorers, we've played that a few times.
Yeah.
and
a
I
good
just, is it?
Oh yeah, I liked it a lot.
Listen,
I
my
still like
wife
it a
has
lot.
asked me to table
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
okay, so I'm with Wayne on this one a bit.
I'm
Like
like,
the
okay.
first play, I was like, let's shelve it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's
I can't
all right.
remember. Did I buy it from Diego, Rob? Because you brought it to me. I think I may have.
probably, Yeah.
And I think you borrowed it.
Yeah, I did.
I think
took
Rob,
it home and
right, and I was fine with him keeping it. Like if it would end up on a shelf, that was fine. But then wifey was like, "Hey, I want to play that one again."
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't
So
like it.
I was more of on Wayne's side of like I think I'm okay with it.
First time I played it, I was too.
But then Rob started telling me about
Oh,
flipping
yeah.
the board
Yep.
to the more complex
More
side,
complex
and then
side.
Rob brought the game back. It's because wifey wanted to play it, so Rob gets it back. We play it. Wifey and I play it again, and Rob plays it. And I think the three of us played it.
We did.
We added the extra stuff, the crystals or something.
Yeah.
It like added extra complexities.
Yep.
So there's more depth in there.
Yeah.
It's that
It's
chaining
so
of.
beige, so ugly.
Oh, well, it is
Jesus,
ugly, but
so ugly.
I thought you loved beige.
I do, but but I like 20-year-old beige. I don't like new beige.
Oh, okay. Modern beige trying to look retro.
Right.
Okay, you can
I
sniff
think,
it out.
I think what hurt this too is it was released in Germany last year, but it's been out for 2 years now here. So it's not a new game that just came out everywhere in 2023. It came out,
I like the cubes. Like I do love the tactile. Like I'm spreading my, the pathing.
love.
When
It's
you
in
start
there.
pathing them out.
You said I like the
I know.
cubes. Yeah, that's all I need to know.
Guild of Merchant Explorers, The Walls of York, and Era. ERA.
Which one?
Era.
Which-
Era. Whatever it is. All three games with production value that should have just been rolling rights.
They could have been. Totally could have been.
Could have been a $20
I could have been
roll, right?
checking boxes on
Same
Guild of
thing.
Merchant
Guild
Explorers.
of Merchant Explorers is another game that should have been a $20 rolling right. Like,
I like the production.
yeah.
Yeah, I like the cube.
I thought that too because if you like just shake the table just a hair, right?
Knock 'em all
Like,
over the place, yeah.
Like-
Need some dual layer boards or
Yeah.
something.
but the thing is you pick up if you don't complete a path, you have to pick up said path.
Yeah.
So it's the whole checking and unchecking of boxes that I could see you be in trouble.
Problem with erasing and-
yes.
Yeah, but what's interesting is the Daybreak's rated 7.7 on BGA. Guild of Merchant Explorers also 7.7. Ticket to Ride Legacy 8.8. So a little bit of a difference between the I think what the award committee looked at. I kind of want to. I mean, what's funny is it's gonna be hard to find these games now because they've all won awards, so they're gonna get sold out. But I would like to try Daybreak. Give it a shot. It's cooperative. I like cooperative games.
I think
love-
that one's going to be more regularly available. I think that's
Probably.
going to be like the attempt to be the modern pandemic.
Might be a
I
target.
say modern, right? Because pandemic's been around, 15 years now or
Oh,
something?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
But I think Daybreak is. I like my cooperatives. I love Pandemic. I like that
Yeah,
endangered
I do too.
game. So this is kind of like a extension of that. So
Yeah, I watched the playthrough.
If you
on
like the
Dice
planet.
Tower. It was fun.
I like the
if you
planet.
like the planet.
We all gotta live here.
Yeah.
No, my kids got to live here. I don't.
Yeah.
I'll be gone soon.
Leave a cleaner planet than you came in with. Then the last one, none of us are gonna know any of these, and I'm not even gonna try to pronounce them.
No.
But the Kinderspiel des Jahres, which is the children's game of the year, and I'm not pronouncing any of those.
No, just gonna skip those. Yeah.
One is Taco Kitten Pizza. One is Grobe Clean Edelstein. And the other one is Die Magischen Schwiesle. I don't know.
Sounds like something I'd order at Dunderbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm hungry.
They're all good. That's the one thing. The one thing
Dunderbox.
I've always, the one thing that always like the Spiel des Jahres and Kenners are always available here in the States. The Kinder, like every year they nominate these games and they're all like, you look at the covers, they look cool, and you don't see any of them here.
It's like Harvest. Like you brought Harvest. You introduced us to Harvest.
Japan,
yeah.
it's been
It's
there for like
Japan, but
30
you got to
years.
go to Japan to get it.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, or Japan, Amazon. But I always thought it was weird that like the kids games don't come over here at all. Like I would think, like why wouldn't these get republished here for kids? Because I mean, I don't know. I think the kids market's a pretty decent game market here, but they just don't.
Could it be though?
money on 'em? I don't know.
I don't know.
Like,
Like it's
yeah, maybe.
America. We raised a bunch of iPad kids
We give all our kids like horrible mass market games instead of these better games.
and an iPad. Leave me alone. Right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how much money they make off of them. I assume they're less expensive, and so that they import. I mean, I'm sure they cost about the same to bring them over.
But you would think at least the one that won the award,
maybe.
like some publisher would bring it here in normal and like
Pick it up.
regionalize
even like
it.
Cosmos with Legend of Andor's the family version took forever to get here. I remember when it first got announced. I think I waited a year and a half, almost 2 years before we got a copy of the family version of Legends of Andor, which is it was already in Europe. I don't know if we have the market for it.
Yeah, probably not. I guess
I don't
not.
know.
I mean, until Tom started allowing families at Dice Tower, like, what's the point, right? Tom, let families at Dice Tower.
They have kids. They have kids badges.
Kids. See, like, okay, so I was listening to a podcast about this. They were talking about the BGG Con in Dallas.
Right by
Right.
the airport in Dallas. Yeah.
They allow full-on families.
What
Like,
do you
they
mean
have
families?
rooms,
You wanna
like
bring-
families.
Yeah.
Like, if I came in with my toddler,
Right.
I can go sit down and play a game and have my kid here munching on some Cheerios while I played games, because there was a family room, right, where families can go play a game. At Dice Tower, I'm pushing the start button. At Dice Tower, I couldn't bring my toddler into the gaming area.
Right.
You're not allowed, right? So, like, not prioritizing families that game. Anyway, that's another hot topic.
Yeah.
Beans and Dice podcast.
Yeah, we'll have it
State
with
your
that.
name,
We'll
where you're
circle back to
calling
that
from.
Hey guys, it's Aaron calling from Columbus. How we doing?
Hey, Ron.
Yeah, I've gotten quite a bit played in since over the last month. The last time I called. So
Well, I'll have you
thought I
know
would-
that must be the case, because Wayne already has a button with just your name on it. All he had to
Oh,
do
nice.
is click your name to get your name across the scroller on this call here.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying kind of the recap from Dice Tower East, and kind of picked up some games based on some of what I was hearing coming out of that. I did pick up the White Castle. Haven't played it yet, but certainly excited to get that one played.
Nice.
But I think very quickly, just a few that I played that I think are all worth a mention would be Sky Theme, which I kind of already called out. Played that twice since the last time I called. Foundations of Rome. I enjoyed it. Certainly, it's even a little lighter than I thought.
Yeah.
And looked at it when it was kickstarted, however many years ago, but didn't actually go forward with it. But liked it enough that I did go ahead and pre-order Foundations of Metropolis. Finally gave Wormspan a go. Interesting. It's hard to know if it's. I've loved Wingspan for so long. It was my number one game for a long time. So, wasn't that Wormspan was bad? It was just different. Some in a good way, and some maybe in less of a good way. So I think I still give a slight nod to Wingspan personally. And then I'm trying to think. There was one other game. Oh, Arcs, which has been a while ago now.
Oh, yeah.
ARCS.
Yes, ARCS. I've not actually. I played Roots. Never was interested to buy it on it myself. Played a couple times, and I was just lukewarm on it. It's a little too asymmetric, I think, for me. I'm not a big. Not that it's a war game, but like I don't know. Like it's not my style. Both didn't interest me. I kind of dabbled in. I think the little deck builder game. So leader games just never really connected with me. But this one, the theme and some of the mechanisms seemed really interesting. So I had a friend that has a copy and got tipped. I was very surprised and can see what's getting a lot of it's very well. And I think calling it a trick-taking game does it a little bit of disservice because, yeah, the core kind of action selection mechanism is driven by trick-taking, but at the end of the day, it's not really trick-taking, right? It's a much more complex sort of action selection. And I love what they call declaring ambition or whatever. That little mechanism in the game, I think really put it over the top for me as a game. I don't know that I'll ever own it, but a game I certainly would recommend to a lot of people to try.
Did you feel limited playing ARCs? Okay, so I'll be honest. I listened to a couple weeks ago's episode from the Secret Cabal, and what's the guy from Alabama?
I forget his name. Too.
He played ARCs and talked about it. I think they were at Origins when they played it, and Jamie talked about some of the things that concerned him. Was that trick taking really limited what actions you were allowed to take based on who was leading the trick? Because the suit that was led is the action that we're taking that round. How'd you feel about being limited in what actions you took? Was it detrimental to the game?
Well, I don't think so. And I think the reason I felt okay with it, and maybe it would feel a little more because I'm not sure with more players, but the kind of dual use or purpose of the resources, I think provide you an opportunity to do, maybe you don't get the 3 actions that you want with the little pips on your cards as you're playing them, as you're trying to take tricks or whatever. But those resources can be, you only have so many slots. So if you know you're going to get more of them anyway, spending them at the right time to set something up or to make sure you are getting that critical, attack action when you need it or move action when you need it, whatever that may be, I think kept it pretty flexible to me. And again, it's just one play.
Yeah, because I worry about that. I know, going first can be so big in so many games. For example, playing the White Castle this last game, Wayne griped and whined the whole time because he was going last.
I don't think I
Throw
did
him under there.
Jeez, I don't think I said anything until after the game was over. But okay, the whole game long, once after the game, I said my negative is going to be that if you're last, it's rough. Okay.
No, thank you for dispelling that.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Well, and I think the one other thing I would say too is leading first is always going to be beneficial. But if you want to score points in that game, you have to declare ambition. And in order to do that, it sets up the other player to then kind of take the initiative. So there's a give and take here of I really need to declare ambition so I can ensure that we're scoring points in a way that I want them scored this chapter. But that probably means I'm going to lose. Not always, but in a lot of cases, it means you are going to lose initiative. So that's the other give and take in addition to the resources.
See, you said you the Secret Cabal covered it, but I think every single podcast worth mentioning, all the names have dedicated or talked about ARCs in the last 2 weeks, and it's all the hype and everyone's talking about it, and so that immediately makes me go, I'm immediately
the cake is a lie.
Yeah, it's just weird. The whole trick taking in a Euro thing. And I think it felt like some of the podcasts, some of the different groups were they wanted to hype it because it's the hype train, but they also wanted to talk about...
Because Shut Up and Sit Down called it the best game ever made.
Game of the
ever,
year.
ever.
Game of the year already.
I unfollowed Shut Up and Sit Down a little while ago. The one guy left the show who was actually the good one, and then
I'm following him on his other show now that he does
RPG
show. But I think the one thing I had was trick taking games are good and fun, but working into a 2-hour Euro, how long does that last as far as enjoyment? Does it?
This is why I want to get Brian Barreau
I was going
to the table.
I was waiting to get that in there. So.
I've read the rule book again,
twice
now because I'm prepared for Robert to teach and play.
Yeah.
Now Robert teaches and I read the rules. I don't know how this works.
Yeah.
But yes, trick taking. I worry about the same things that Wayne's talking about. Can you really turn trick taking into a whole game? But Aaron, I heard you say earlier that it's disingenuous to say it's a trick taking game,
which is the same with Brian Baru. But
and I would. It is trick taking in kind of the simplest form, but I think that does a little bit of a disservice to. It's an action selection game, right? Now it's built into this kind of trick taking mechanism, but you do have kind of flexibility within it to some extent, and so I think trick taking helps put people in a mindset, and in some ways that's good. But I think it's a pretty intriguing action selection system. You're not going to be like, you're going to get this hand of cards and be like, oh, look at all these pips I have, and oh, I have 3 of these cards that allow me to attack and or move. I'm going to be able to. If that's the mindset you're going into it with, that's wrong. You're not going to be able to leverage all those cards for all those pips. You have to find moments to say, hey, I need to hold this card back so that I can, take initiative, and then I can play this card to declare it. Like, you have to recognize there are moments, and some of those cards you're just going to play face down and copy an action. I think it's a little short-sighted to just call it trick taking without kind of recognizing that's just the system for action selection.
Aaron, have you ever played Brian Boru? I'm just curious.
I'd like to hear from someone that played both.
Oh, he has not. Okay. I was just saying, because it is similar, because in Brian Boru, your cards, they do one thing, one action if you win the trick, and they do a different action if you lose the trick, and then the trick is also for taking over different positions on the map for an area control game. And so I definitely feel some flavors here from Brian Boru to Arcs. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of differences, but just in playing Brian Boru, I played it twice now. It's been a while since I played, but hearing that and then hearing about Arcs, there's a little bit of a flavor there I'm getting.
It gets Robert's Viking blood boiling.
Oh, yeah. Something like that.
Irish, but okay.
Well, the Vikings are in here. The Vikings come.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think Brian Boru was a Viking, wasn't he? The
High King of Ireland.
Well,
No, maybe
there you go.
not.
Ireland. Okay.
history.
Get our history right.
But no, so, and is it with the Arcs you play? Was it your copy or was it a friend's?
No, it was a friend's copy.
It was a Kickstarter. So what's the production value on it look like?
It's nice. There weren't didn't do the actual minis or whatever. It was just the wooden ships, and I've actually heard those are more functionally like a better product, just because the way damage works is each ship can take 2 damage. And so you set them on their side instead of standing them up when they've got a damage on them. And apparently that doesn't work as well with the actual mini versions of the ships. So, but otherwise the production, I think, it's on par with all the other leader games. Like it's there's not a ton in there outside of, some cards, some wooden resources. And then, the cardboard tokens are up to par. I also, I think the other 2 things I would say about Arcs that it has going for it is, especially when compared to the other leader games, teaching this is way, way easier than any of the other big ones. I feel it's a little, again, the card play is a little unique, but there's not a lot of asymmetry. You can add those leaders in, but you get the asymmetry as you go through the game by picking up these. I'm not sure what they're called, like council cards or something like that.
So almost like a Blood Rage, where we all start off in the same place, but by the time we get to the end of the game, we will be in different places.
Yeah, and you're starting in some different areas of the board and stuff to kind of start and set up, which may give you slightly different access to certain planets that produce certain resources. But you're claiming these. I don't know if they're council cards, exactly what they're called, but those, you claim those and they can give you powers that kind of break the rules or let you kind of change how you're doing some things. And then on top of all of that is a pretty cool combat system where it's kind of got these 3 tiers of dice, and it's a very simple combat system. You just roll some dice as the attacker. There's no defense, but you can kind of decide the type of attack you want to do. One of them is the safer attack, one of them is a more aggressive attack that you can end up damaging yourself, and then the other one, depending on the situation, may allow you to kind of, instead of doing damage, more steal resources or those council cards. I'm sure I'm calling this the wrong thing, from your opponents. So during in key moments, it might be more important to do one of those over the other. And it's cool that you have that flexibility.
Yeah.
What do we know about the cost of this game? because that matters in our desire to purchase.
Well, it was a Kickstarter only, right? At this point, I don't know how many retail versions there's going to be.
I just pulled it up on. It looks like they're pre-order on Leader Games, pre-ordering the base game for $60, and based on the conversation you guys had earlier, I think that's on par or even a little more affordable.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's not bad.
Than a lot of other games, and maybe that's a discount of our MSRP since they're selling it straight from their website. But
dude, that's a trip to Taco Bell
$60.
nowadays.
Yeah.
Maybe for your family. Maybe for your family.
yeah,
If you're doing it wrong.
But this is, I've heard a number of the podcasts say this is like their favorite Cole Whirley game. But so Leader Games really is Root, this, a couple others.
Oath, yeah.
So they have that. What that was a Vast or something? Was that them?
Vast,
Long time
yeah,
ago.
the piratey one.
Crystal Caverns.
Or Crystal Caverns, yeah, I know.
Vast and stuff.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued by it. I definitely play it again. I'm not like a big. I mean, it's a 4X-esque game. I don't know that I have enough experience with that to really know if it's a true 4X game. But
Well, did you explore any tiles? We'll go through the checkbox. Rob, you might manage first. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna explore.
Did you explore any tiles?
Yes.
It's 1X.
Did you exterminate anyone's units?
Yep.
2X's.
Okay. Did you exploit any planets for resources?
Yeah.
All right.
3X's.
And exploit, exterminate, explore, and did you expand your kingdom?
Yeah.
All right. 4X's.
Checks the boxes.
All four. Ding, 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 ding.
I don't even need a soundboard. I got Rob.
Yeah, got me. There we go.
Cool.
And I am a 4X guy.
Oh, yeah.
Rob too. Like
Yeah, I
it's
like
one thing that
4X.
Rob and I both enjoy, like Heroes
it.
Land, Air, and Sea,
I like it in less than 8 hours, but yes, yes.
Twilight Imperium,
Yeah.
Eclipse. Like 4X games are fun.
Yeah.
Even the light ones like Tiny Epic Kingdoms, which is a 4X game in more of a Euro form. That's what
Light.
keeps drawing me back to ARCs.
All right. Carlos will have it bought by the end of the night.
Yeah. It's
I don't
really,
pre-order.
I would give it a play for sure. I mean, it's a unique thing, as it seems like all Leader games are. But yeah, it's worth a play for sure.
Nice. Yeah, it's all the buzz right now. So everywhere you look at it, they're talking about it. So yep.
So one more game I wanted to mention real quick, and it's a lighter one, but kind of on par with what Carlos was talking about with White Castle as a kind of a weeknight game. I got my wife to give it a go. She doesn't do anything too heavy at all. Coming off of some of the, I think, hot games from last year, from both Tom and Z, the Veil of Eternity.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a fun. I've been playing that on BGA. Yeah.
Get my butt kicked by one
That's
BGA right now.
Okay. I need to get back on BGA. I know they've got so many more games. I haven't really played in the last year and a half or so, but this one, I mean, there's not a ton to say about it. It's absolutely a card game, and I think, it's got some interesting elements. This tight economy with the money that you have. You only have space kind of in your inventory for slots for 4 coins. They come in denominations of 1, 3, and 6. When you go to buy cards, you can't. There's no getting change back, and it's all
Ouch.
about the which it feels worse than it I think actually plays.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about kind of claiming these. There's a little bit of a snake draft to claim these cards. They come into your hand. You can either kind of sell them off for coins, keep them in your hand and play later, or play them, summon them, I think is what it's called.
Yep.
Play them down in front of you. And then it's all about kind of creating an engine, a combo system within that over the course of a 10-round game. So some of them are giving you immediate, abilities or benefits. Some of them are ongoing benefits, and then some of them trigger in between rounds. But the one thing I think is really takes a minute is there's no immediate kind of understanding or clear direction on how you're going to score points for the game. It all comes through kind of the generation of your engine, and some cards are better at that than others. So, I could see, I've only played it once, but I could see in some games, it being pretty tough if the right cards aren't coming out, or
Yep.
only one or two are, and you're missing an opportunity to get cards that ultimately adds point scoring to your engine.
Yep.
That's the one, I think, potential
I've played this
negative.
five or six times now on BGA, and I agree with you. There definitely is a luck factor. I've had a couple of games where it's just the cards I was getting access to just didn't combo up, and I was seeing other people combo stuff. I'm in a game right now that my stuff just comboed up nice. But I will say this game is just fun. The variety of the cards, I've played 5 or 6 times now, and I'm just now starting to see kind of duplicates of things like, oh yeah, I had that card in another game, and there's enough variety there, and there's enough just kind of fun combinations and interactions with the cards. Even when I'm not doing well and I'm not scoring a lot of points, I'm still doing something. I'm still kind of building an engine. I'm putting some cards down. I'm trying to test out different things. You know, can I afford to buy that to trigger that? You've got those instant effect cards where you put them down, they do something right away. Some of them they trigger and then they go away forever. Some of them you hold in your hand and you're just hoping that sometime I'm going to find a way to get 12 coins in a turn to be able to play that big card out that's going to get me 15 points or whatever. So I've really enjoyed this one. I didn't think I would when it first came out. I kind of avoided it a little bit, and then more and more people were playing it, and I was seeing reviews of it, and I was like, all right, I got to give it a try, and I'm glad I did because this one's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the theme and everything doesn't really. I mean, it's not really there, but
No.
It didn't do anything for me. The title doesn't it's not exciting, but kind of looking a little deeper, and then again seeing what Tom and Z thought about it. I think I got it for like $32 off of Amazon.
Yeah.
And figured it was worth giving a go, and I think it'll be one that my wife is actually willing to play. So.
And I like drafting. I'm a big fan of card drafting, and this having the card drafting in it is just fun for me. So, yeah.
I think I'm playing my first game of it.
Oh, first game?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I've never played it before, and I'm enjoying it. But what I've realized is I did not pay close enough attention to the card powers.
Yeah.
Like that's really a big aspect. I was focusing on like taking cards that I can afford to buy, and not really spending time to read the cards.
No.
But where I can see though, in like on BGA, we were playing async, so I probably should have had the time to do that. I could slow down and do it. But on a gameplay, playing it physically, does that slow it down when you're sitting there reading the cards and trying to figure out the combinations? Does that draw the game out longer than it maybe should be because you're trying to figure out the best way to combo those cards?
I think it has the potential a little bit. The nice thing is like you're kind of reading them out, and everyone's kind of getting a first feel of them when you're putting them out to set up the draft. And then, as, with it being a snake draft, your options are, slowly, so you don't have as many to look at if you're going to be the fourth player to draft,
Right.
Okay, right. Some of these. And then if you're the last player to draft, you're just going to get what's left. You pick the first one and then you get whatever's left. So, you've got some time in between those turns, I think, to think through it. I definitely didn't overstay its welcome during our first play. I could see with 4 players, maybe it's taking a little longer, but I think this is going to play in 45 minutes in most cases.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'll let someone call in, but it'd been a while, and sounds like everyone's getting a lot of games played right now. Pretty exciting, and exciting to see what's coming out at Gen Con, too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. The month of July has been good for us here in Tampa, so all of us have been playing more games recently, so that's good. But
I think that week at Dice Tower really got the juices flowing again.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, they got the halls that we brought back with us, so definitely want to get those tabled more to enjoy. So it has been good, Aaron. It has been good, and I'm glad to hear the same for you and your family up there. Getting games in with young ones at home, it does provide. There is a small speed bump there, right? I've done this 5 times now with these kids. There's a small speed bump there, but they don't stay little forever. You'll have plenty of time to play later.
That's right. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Don't be a stranger, Aaron. Thanks.
See you. Nice. That was Aaron from Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Home of origins, right? That's Columbus?
Mm-hmm. I think so, yeah. Sounds right. Yeah.
Phone lines open. 813-618-7099 is the number. We're talking gaming and games.
Yeah, good to hear from Aaron. It's been a little while since we had called in, so yeah.
He's always getting some really good games in his group.
Yeah. Cool.
I think it's that proximity to Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, Arcs is the hot one right now, like I said. So it's cool that he's got a chance to play it and got a chance to get on the show and chime in about it. Because we haven't talked about it too much. I think we came up once before. We mentioned it briefly, but now
It's that 4X piece. Like you played a recent 4X game with ODAC.
Which one?
The Euro style, no dice.
Oh yeah. What was the name of that one? I'll have to pull up my list here.
Yeah.
One I hadn't heard of before I got over there.
I mean, I was pulling it up to see, ooh, what does that one cost? Because I love 4X games, and then Arc hit the zeitgeist, and that one fell away because of the time play. So I think Arcs is supposed to be like a 4-hour game. Yeah. 3 to 4 hour games. That's what Jamie from the Secret Cabal was saying. For them with the teach took about 4 hours.
Yeah, that's probably right. Fall of Lumen, I think, was the one that I had played, if I remember correctly. Let's take a look at the picture.
Odak says Voidfall.
Oh, Voidfall, not Fall of Lumen. Yep, that was a different one.
It's another fall?
Voidfall. Yeah, all the falls. He likes the falls. Yeah.
Odak likes the falls.
The falls.
In the news, so Aaron brought up briefly about looking forward to seeing what Gen Con has in store. I think one of the things that Gen Con has in store that I'm super excited about is Radlands Cult of Chrome, the expansion. So it's an expansion for Radlands, the card game, which brings...
You gotta get the deluxe expansion. Do they have a deluxe expansion?
I think it's only deluxe. I don't...
Oh.
That's a good question. How are they going to do that? Because the basic game, the $17 game, is just cardboard cards.
Right.
Still nice cards, don't get me wrong. But the deluxe version are all plastic cards. I wonder if they're going to provide an expansion for the base.
That's the question. So this is only a deluxe expansion.
That's when I looked at it online.
Yeah.
That would expand your deluxe game, which kind of makes sense. Like if you're playing the $17 version, what are the odds you're going to be expanding that version? Compared to the guy who spent the $50 to get the.
But if you like it,
I spent 0. You spent 17 and then 50.
Most people aren't doing that. Yeah,
buying it twice.
Yeah.
Father's Day. Melissa got it for me for Father's Day, so I didn't have to buy it twice. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where you calling from?
This is Mr. Odak.
How are the falls?
How's it going, gentlemen?
How you doing?
Good, man.
Couldn't help but hear my name mentioned.
Yeah, got to jump in there. You heard your name calling.
Yeah. I haven't talked to you guys since, most of you. I talked to Rob, of course.
Rob last night.
Just you, Carlos. I haven't talked to you.
Yeah, I was expecting to see you at Dice Tower, but that didn't pan out very well.
No, that was an awful experience for me.
I'm sorry, brother.
But
So-
I know I said this in the Discord, so I'm going to say it publicly now, though. Jim, you are...
Made the right call.
You are a great man because... for those of you who don't know, Jim showed up the day before Dice Tower started, and he wasn't feeling well, kind of had a fever, and he did the right thing, and he just went home, right? I totally saw people hacking up a lung, like coughing, sneezing, and I'm like, what are you doing here, right? We just got finished with this, like craziness. Like, go home. If you're not feeling well, don't show up to a room full of 2,000 people. So, Jim, I thank you so much for taking that sacrifice and doing the right thing. Like, if you're not feeling well, just don't go, right?
And not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah, I love it. So
Appreciate that. It did make me feel a little better because, man, I was so bummed.
Yeah, that sucks.
no, we missed out on a lot of games, but we'll be able to play all the games we were gonna play at Dice Tower.
We'll play games.
Yeah,
we played games. We played games last night. A game.
Well, that's what I wanted to call. I've actually played a good handful of new to me games in the last, since Dice Tower, pretty much.
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of go over some of them and just tell you my thoughts real quick.
Take it away.
Sure.
So the first one I'll start with is right behind Wayne's head. I see you got a copy of Deliverance there,
Deliverance,
Carlos.
yeah.
I've been itching to get this one on the
He
table.
was telling me about it.
So while I was recovering from COVID, I broke that out and I started playing through the scenarios. There's 14 scenarios. I'm really enjoying it as far as like a solo game, right? It's a cooperative game, but just playing two of the angels myself. It's kind of like I don't know, I didn't play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, but it's got that or like Frosthaven feel where you got the character sheet and you're battling stuff and hit points and whatnot. So it was a good way to kill time while being isolated.
I'm excited about
Yes,
Deliverance. This is it's got a strong place in my heart because this is one of the games that Lonnie and I went in on early. We bought T-shirts, like we were all about what he was doing. Lauren in out of, I think Texas, San Antonio area, what he was doing with the creation of Deliverance, and Lonnie and I had talked about getting the game played this year now that our copies arrived. This one is going to mean a lot to me when I get it to the table. I'm glad to hear you enjoyed it. I was worried because I had saw some reviews about over simplicity of the game.
I don't know if I would play it with other people.
Solo only.
I don't know if it'd be that enjoyable as a group. I'm enjoying it solo, but I think if I got to put a bunch of people together, I don't think we would necessarily.
Now, what about for
Be over
like
the
a
top.
13-year-old? Because I'm looking at my son here. He's my dungeon
Does he-
crawl gamer.
So if he likes dungeon crawling, he probably like that. Is he into the? I like the theme too, like the whole angels and demons and
Yes.
What was that run of movies with Christopher Walken? With the
Balls of Fury.
No.
No.
That was a great Christopher Walken movie. Okay.
There was they did like 4 or 5. He wasn't in all of them, but there was a whole bunch of them. It was all about the battle between angels and demons. This game has a lot. Seems very similar to that.
I'm
movie.
gonna have to find that series of movies now. Like Christopher
Oh,
Walken
what the
fighting
hell's the name of
demons.
Wayne's on it. He's looking it up.
That sounds awesome.
Keep talking. He'll find it.
Yeah, he plays.
The Prophecy.
What's the demon with the angel that with all the wrath? I have such horrible memory now. I'm getting older.
The Prophecy. Christopher Walken plays Gabriel the
Prophecy,
angel.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's free on PlayStation.
You watch those movies and play the game. It's very, very similar.
I like it.
That's
All right,
interesting.
so here's one that might surprise you, but I played Tile Sim for the first time a couple weeks ago,
Toledo. Yeah.
and I really, really liked it. I think that's the last T game I haven't played.
I think friend of the show,
think
BJ from Board Game Gumbo.
He's a
talks
big
about- He's a
fan.
big fan of that one.
Yeah, I want to play it.
Talks about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really like that. Definitely, I think that and Tekkenu are really close for me. And I think both of them I like better than Zolkin, even though Zolkin's pretty good.
I like Sulkin a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, great Euro style. I mean, just like all those other games, it's very good. And over at Alex's house, he broke out. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Daimyo.
Daimyo. Yeah.
Daimyo.
We played that.
That's a throwback.
Oh, I
a
really
while
like-
ago. Yeah, I was telling Jim that we.
Oh my gosh, we have a video of that
Yes,
play.
on the channel. Yeah.
So, friend of the show,
Yeah.
Dan Erdzik, owner of Your Turn Games,
Yeah.
has a YouTube channel, Gray Board Gamer, before he did the Your Turn thing. And so he had hookups with different publishers, and he got offered a copy of Daimyo.
Pre-production copy.
Yep, to do a teach on. Well, Dan said, "Hey, Carlos, I know you're just starting your Beans and Dice thing. Do you want to do it?" We set up at Your Turn a whole game through a whole gameplay. We had so much fun that night.
Set up a whole studio over there at Your Turn. Yeah, to do it. Yeah.
Post-apocalyptic Japanese style. Imagine like Japan, post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
You're chasing relics down.
Yeah. Which are like TVs and forks and.
It felt there was a lot of and tell me what you think, Jim. There was a lot of comparisons at the time to like Scythe. In the
Like Scythe and Rising Sun kind of mixed together. Yeah.
yes,
A little bit. Okay.
You see it too.
Yeah, I liked it. It's got a lot going on. You're assassinating other players, so you got a little bit of head-to-head stuff. So you're not just like playing a solo game with other people. And,
Yep.
And I love that theme. I mean, I'm big into the whole anything Asian, Chinese, Japanese themed games. So I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great one. I'm actually thinking about buying that one eventually.
Nice.
If I can find a copy.
Oh, cool. Yeah. We got in early on that one. That was one of the few we were ahead of the curve on. Yeah.
I set up cameras. I had to set up so many cameras that day.
Yeah.
That was so much fun.
Did you have the big pieces too, or did you have the smaller wooden pieces?
We had plastic wood houses. Wood
They
houses.
were wooden. Yeah, I think they were wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course this was Alex's. He had the fancy more plastic miniatures, which made it more
Yeah.
themed. It was
Again, yeah, we were early
The
production.
plastic miniatures actually look more like the cards than the wooden ones do.
Yeah.
The card play was fun. I remember that in the card play.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of Blood and Sand.
I know what you're talking
Kemet.
about. Kemet. Yep. There you go.
You know, with the different
Kemet.
powers on the cards.
Yep.
That was a good one, man. And that's what sucks in this day and age. So many good games,
many games.
come
Yeah.
and
Too
then are
many games.
gone to never be heard of again.
Yep.
I'm glad there are folks out here watching. You folks at home who are watching, calling in, talking about your introduction to games that we may have never heard about. Folks at home probably never heard
I
about.
wonder, I wonder if that's in the Dice Tower library. Probably not.
Probably not. I don't think so.
Yeah.
What else you play, Jim?
So last night we played Trickerion,
We did.
and that was a game I actually kind of bought blindly. Never played it, didn't know a whole lot about it, but I saw there was a 4.25 on BGG, so that's always a plus for me.
Yeah.
But
That was
I
the rating?
really enjoyed that game.
Rating, no.
That was the weight.
The weight.
What some podcast had a joke about, like the heavy gamer in the group has like a setup on BGG that anytime a game hits 4+, a ding goes off to buy it.
Oh,
Like,
really? Automatic buy.
Auto added to his shopping cart.
If it's a 4-weight or higher.
I don't know, Jim. I wouldn't call it a 4.25, but I don't know about you. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I threw everything at you too. There's still one expansion I didn't have, but
Oh, okay. Wow.
I really liked it, right? Because the same reason I think I mentioned to you, the same reason I like my father's work, right? Where you're doing the experiments, building up. This is kind of the same thing, but you're doing tricks.
Yep.
So you're obtaining a trick, you're preparing it, you're setting it up, and then you're performing it.
I know the
and
theme
I know
has
they
to do
don't
with
find
like
it-
magicians, like something to do.
It's like the Prestige.
The Prestige. That's a movie.
Very like
Movie. Yeah. You've seen
Kinda.
1920s magic.
So you're playing the
magician.
role of an actual magician. So not like magic, but like a human who does magic tricks.
No, like
Yeah, it's got a little magic
Harry
in it.
Houdini.
Yeah, the idea is that
Yeah.
the grand magic master has disappeared or passed away or something, and he has a magic stone. But you're competing now. It's some kind of competition they've called together for all the local magicians, and you're competing to be the one to take over all his stuff.
I was just gonna say it. I'm shedding a tear. Like, the first thing he said about the White Castle in the review was about the looks, the aesthetics, how
yeah.
great it was.
Yeah.
And then here he is, Trickerion, like
whole
full on theme. Who are you and what have you done with Robert?
Exactly.
Rob has been replaced by a doppelganger.
The theme is strong in this one. Yes.
Wayne and I are both very proud.
Thanks, Dad.
I wish
One
I
thing I
had a
think you
dad.
guys have brought up before that I'm starting to find out that's a plus for me in games is there's got to be a little bit of that give and take and take that with other players. Otherwise, you're just kind of playing a solo game with other people.
Yep.
And this had a lot of that, right? You were competing for the traditional Euro worker spots, and then doing the performances was very much a competition.
Yep, I messed up, Jim. The second round of the game, I think it was. We were trying to perform our tricks, and
Oh.
you perform different tricks, and so you got to put people out there to commit them to do the trick. But then when you perform a trick, people are putting their little tokens. I'm really simplifying, but putting their tokens on these different cards to perform these tricks. But if I'm ahead of Jim in the turn order and I choose the spot where I choose a trick first, you can only do a trick that has one of your tokens on it. So I've got a couple different cards out there with my tokens on them. Jim only has pretty much is all invested in one. But I get the points for doing the trick. So even though he's got stuff out there, he gets some points for placing. But if I do the trick at the end of the round and I pull it off, then I get most of those points. He gets some stuff for having stuff on there. But anyway, so just long story short, I messed him over. I wasn't not intending to do that, but he kind of pointed it out. He was like, he actually pointed it out to me. He's like, well, if you do that one, you really kind of messed me over. So you shouldn't do that one. You should do the other one so that we can both perform a trick. And I was like, well, now that you brought it to my attention, of course I got to do the one that messes you over, right? So
See, what you should have done is like Greg did in Darwin's Journeys, is you tell Rob about what he could do after he already took his turn.
You should have
and then you kind of rub it in his face that that's not what you did.
You should have done this. I want to say Ant Lab Games did a playthrough Trickerion a while back, and they were kind of. I remember Francis and Anthony were talking good about it.
Yeah, it's good.
Nice.
It's a good game.
That's a cool theme, though. The idea of it not being fantasy or magic.
That's
It's-
up my alley. I love. Jim had offered me to play as well, but kid had basketball practice last night, but
It's
I
okay.
definitely want to give it a shot.
You would have liked it. You
Yeah,
would have liked
Jim,
it.
let's
It's good.
if we re-rack that sometime.
I want to play it again. Yeah, we can definitely play it again.
I definitely would like to give that one a shot because I love like the Prestige, and then what's the other one with Edward Norton?
I don't know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
They both came out the same year. They're two of my favorite movies. I can't think of it now.
Or yeah, it was like in Hollywood or whatever. Not Hollywood, in Vegas or whatever. He was doing the big shows.
No. The Prestige was the one with.
Now you see me. Is it?
He's gonna look it up.
I'll look it up.
Well,
Magic movies.
Yeah.
Well, is it Now You See Me?
No, he's thinking of a different one. He said, but
The Magician.
the magician.
Yeah, just the
Oh,
Magician.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the Illusionist. The Illusionist.
The Illusionist. There
Yeah,
you
the
go.
Illusionist.
That was something simple.
And, it was great. I like that one better than the Prestige, but they're both great movies, and so I love that aspect.
That was that era where like you could be fooled by tricks. Like it was a time
You still can.
before the internet and before like everything got, let me
Revealed.
show you how that's done.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could just enjoy it and really almost like quasi.
I don't know. You can still kind of. What's funny is we went to Joey's
yeah.
magic show,
Yep.
and he even did some like, how did he do that? How did he do that? And like, there's actually a magic show in St. Pete here in Florida, the Zabrick Magic Show, and a couple of their tricks, I'm like, okay, they probably did it this way, but a couple of them, I'm like, man, there's no way
Just can't figure it out.
I can't figure it out. Like, I'm like, damn it, I know it's a trick. It's
magic.
It doesn't fool me.
It's
but,
packed
like,
with Satan.
somehow they did it. So you can still fool me where I can't figure it out. I mean, I know it's not real, but like, yeah, it's cool. I really want to play Tricurion.
Nice call out, Tricurion.
What else you got, Jim?
And then I think tomorrow night we might be possibly playing Terminus. So I've kind of broke that out today and learned it. Imagine Barcelona and Maglev Metro kind of meshed together.
Okay.
Seems pretty interesting. It seems fairly heavy. I think Sam's going to love it because it's got a grid.
Okay. Well,
She likes her grids.
Like squares?
Yeah, grids too. Well, have you played Barcelona?
No.
So it's like a square map with like city blocks, and you're putting stuff out on it.
Okay.
In this case, you're putting subways and buildings.
New York 1901.
Okay. Almost city building.
Subway. The theme of it is you're building a subway to fulfill the. I'm trying to think of the right word. It's not desires, but the wishes of the city council, because the people are complaining that they can't get around the city. I actually accidentally bought this game thinking it was Lacerda. It's not a Lacerda, but it does kind of feel like a Lacerda.
I accidentally bought this
Yeah.
game. he said I think Tricurion was one he bought without that. That was
Knowing
almost
anything about it?
accidental.
Yeah.
Accidental. And
just accidentally stumbling into games.
Is that what we tell Mrs. Odak? No.
Whoops.
Hey, no, she doesn't know about these.
Oh, okay. Keep those off the radar.
So you guys want to laugh? She's actually in Guatemala this week, and I took the opportunity to take a trip down to IKEA to get one more Calyx shelf, so she wouldn't know I got it.
Just gonna hide that in the corner. Hide that over
There's
there.
no way she's gonna notice the extra bookshelf in the room.
A 4x4 Calyx over in the corner.
It's my favorite part is like our wives know. Like they let us pretend like we think we got away with something, but they know. They're awesome.
No, whereas I'm like, I have the guilt trip. Like, I don't want to buy anymore. My wife's like, just go, dude. You go.
Right, like,
just go.
they know.
I'm like, I don't want to do it. Like, yeah, go for it.
Well, and here's what's going to let me get away with it. So I don't. Rob knows this, but next week we're going on a cruise and we're renewing our vows for our 20th anniversary.
My man.
It'd be like for
20
So
years,
I'm
man.
hoping that'll give me.
Congrats.
So Jim's gonna say for my wedding.
That should give me a free pass, right?
Free pass, yeah, for the Calyx. Surprise! Here's your re-avowing wedding present. Calyx.
20 years.
Yeah.
That's IKEA
Yeah.
for Calyx.
IKEA's 20 years?
Not
Okay.
too hard. Like I'm trying to figure out how can I fit one more IKEA shelf in this room.
Oh, I can help.
Wayne's like he's got this.
I got you.
Like
Stack it
Tetris.
up.
Top over there.
Stack it right here.
Yep. I'm out of floor space. I need more floor space for people to sit. Like we had to make a Wayne sandwich tonight just to get them at this table.
Wedge them all in on one side
Yeah,
here.
man, we can figure it out. You got it.
Jim, you got good stuff going on there, man. You've always got good games being played.
And
You've
then-
always posting up great photos in the Discord.
And this past Sunday, we Jim taught us, Rob and I, hegemony.
Oh man, I heard nothing but about that this weekend. Rob dropped his son off to spend the weekend with us, and when he got here, that's all we talked about.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
Good game.
I would It's
Anyway, I'm actually gonna give Jim another compliment. In when you teach a game.
not too many, not too many.
No, it's
Yeah,
tough.
going
It's
crazy.
tough, though.
He already was.
No, but it's a good. It's like the opposite of Lonnie, right? So-
Yeah. Throw teach.
No, he gave a very good teach of hegemony, and we're playing. I was playing the people, the workers, right? And I didn't realize that, like, after the first round, he's like, "Hey, the workers really, you always want to. If there's anything in these two spots, you have to buy it every time. You have to go there and do it because that's like the base.
Man, I want to play this
That's
game.
like that's like the part of your strategy you have to hit. And once I did, I hit it and I took off with it. And so I appreciate that. Like when you teach a game, especially an asymmetric game like Hegemony, if somebody is got the basics of their faction and they're missing one little thing, it was really good of you, Jim, to just point out like, hey, you missed that. You need to be buying there. And that's good though, because
These are the games that take a few plays to
take a few
figure
plays
out.
to get into it, and you don't realize it. And if I had not known that and went through 5 rounds and never bought from that spot because I'm like hoarding my money, thinking that the workers need to save their money, he's like, no, you need to spend the money because you'll get it
No,
back.
workers are broke. We live paycheck to paycheck.
Spend our money because we'll get it back when the corporations pay their taxes. Or whatever.
You didn't do that for me, Jim. What the hell?
No,
Weren't you like corporate?
He was
Yeah,
corporate.
I was corporate America.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
corporate.
Yeah, let it burn.
Yeah, I think I did. Just Rob didn't listen.
Yeah, exactly. No,
probably.
yeah,
That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
I was trying to figure out the mechanics, and wasn't paying any attention.
I really want to. It's that
It was
4-hour length.
Yeah.
Like that length
It
is
was-
what pulls me
and
away.
the game is not nearly as complex as it sounds or looks, but it is asymmetric. But once you get into it, it flows well. It just will take 3 hours. Like the teach is an hour. I think if we played again, it'd be a 3-hour game.
Yeah, we could probably do it in 3.
4-player?
If you
Because
played
it
all
should
the
be
same
4-player.
Yeah, you
It
gotta
was
play
4. We
4-player.
played
You gotta
4,
play
yeah.
4-player. Yeah. But if you knew how to
This
play,
is like 98% asymmetric. So
Yeah.
if you play a different faction, you still got another curve to go over.
Yeah, I was just telling Carlos, it's like Root. I mean, you probably got to play one faction 3 or 4 times, but until you learn how to do it, and then at that point you can start worrying about what the other factions are doing because you're spending so much time figuring
But
out.
you're still
what
playing your
doing.
faction.
Yeah, exactly.
But it really they really did sync well because you have the middle class, the working class, the corporations, and the government, and the way they interplayed, it worked really well. Like,
And that's the thing is as much as I'm into socioeconomic issues, political issues, like I feel like the game would be easy to learn because I keep hearing how well it mimics or simulates
yes.
our economy.
Yeah.
Like it would just make sense. The government wants to find ways to tax everything.
or just keep everyone complacent, right? It just I'm saying it wants to balance everything. The government's looking for balance, right? And it was good.
Because chaos is bad.
No, it was good. I really enjoyed it. It goes into that realm of how often you're going to play it, though, right? Like, I if I played it right now, I could play my faction, and I could probably move over and play the other factions fairly well. But with the playtime, if you're not playing that 3 or 4 times a year, like if I don't play it again until next year, I'm going to be like, what?
Yeah, that's when you got to play fairly regularly. Yeah.
Well, fortunately, you met Chris Federspiel at one of the founders of the TGG. He's fascinated with that game. He plays it every chance he gets, so
Nice.
it gets out a lot at TGG.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it's finding that group. It's one of those games like the TI4.
Yeah.
These bigger games where you just got to find that group that's willing to get into it.
Yep.
And I love games about finance.
You would love it. You would love it.
It's that 4 hours, man.
And 4-player. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you can play if you play 3-player. I think
How's the downtime?
it's not because everyone plays a card. You just play a card, play a card, play a card, play a card. So it's I wouldn't say it's tremendous downtime.
Not tremendous, although there are some points where people are thinking things through, and it can slow down a little bit.
But it is fairly snappy because you have 5 or 6 cards, 7 cards, and you're gonna play 5 of them every round. So you can already think about, like, I'm sitting here and looking at the 7 cards like, well, I'm gonna save these 2 for later, or I don't want to play those 2, so I want to play these, and I'm gonna play these in this order, and then boom, and then now maybe something that happens changes that.
Yeah.
But generally it didn't. Maybe,
But it's nice because you're limited. These are the actions you're taking.
Yeah.
You just got to pick
Yeah.
which one's best at this moment.
At the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
And there's some varied interest in what other people are doing, right? So the working class, middle class are competing for some of the same resources, and the corporate class wants to make sure he has resources for people to buy off of him, and the government's just watching everybody to make sure they don't miss any points that they get from what they do.
and then there's like in the top part of the board, there's the government policies. So on healthcare, education, taxes, whatever, and you have 5 cards to play, and some of those let you propose moving it left or right, or up, more socialist, less socialist, whatever. And well, at least in the game we played, I don't know if this is going to be the same. Is those no one is playing those until the last couple of cards, because people are waiting to see what other people are doing, because they, you want to manipulate those policies.
You want to be the last one to manipulate, make it stick.
Manipulate, right? Yeah. And so the last round or two, all of a sudden, boosh, like a bunch of policies get proposed. And you're like, oh damn! Like
it's election year.
Yeah.
Like everything gets proposed election year.
Yeah. And I know, like so. Rob.
Then the IMF comes in and screws everything up.
Yeah, exactly. Wiped out Wayne stuff twice.
Twice. I waited, and I got like 3 policies out, which would push things more
the way you wanted them.
More way I wanted them, more to the socialism side, and then because Jim couldn't pay his bills, which never happens, he could just print more money. He's Keynesian economics. Come on. An IMF intervention comes in, and the first thing of the IMF was remove all
proposed
bills. So twice I had 6 proposals
Stabilized.
get crushed out of me. I'm like, oh damn it! And I knew it was going to happen to him. Like
It's like somebody shot your herd of buffalo.
And you still won. Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah, you still won.
I did. Yeah, I did good.
Did he gripe a lot? Because he's going to win when he gripes a lot.
I didn't gripe. I didn't gripe. I don't.
It's a joke. It's a joke, Wade. It's a joke with a seed of truth, which is what makes it funny.
I fully admit when I don't understand something or I feel like I'm behind, I get a little grumpy every now and then.
And then he wins.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Jim, man, so much fun having you call in.
Good talking to you guys.
I wish you luck with the
Hopefully
IKEA
we'll,
shelf.
Yeah.
It'd be rough to
Yeah.
see
The 20th wedding present.
Tampa Bay man found dead under IKEA shelf.
Thrown overboard. Floating.
Good night, Jim.
All righty.
Have a good night, Jim.
Thanks,
Thanks for
man.
Have a
calling.
good night.
See ya.
Yep.
Wife leaves town. First thing he does is buy
I'm not coming back to
Alex.
Guatemala. Yeah.
I like it.
That was a lot of good games from Jim. Deliverance, Tyler,
Tomatum.
I don't even know how to spell that.
Tilatum.
Daimyo, but that was a throwback right there. Some
Daimyo,
Tricarion,
yeah.
Terminus, and then some Hegemony.
Yeah.
Let's see. In the chat, we've got Chris talking about Finca is a good Euro that plays in 45 minutes. A reprint of Finca is releasing at Gen Con this year.
Haven't played it.
And then Chad Stilson in the chat. Gentlemen, good evening.
Chad.
Hello,
Good evening.
Chad. We are, we did a White Castle Give It the Beans, and we've been talking about games and taking phone calls. That's been nice.
Like just for one mic that's probably still watching. But this Brian Baru, like the artwork, the glossy, the embossing.
cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
On the
it was
board,
really cool.
on the
Board
cover,
and yeah.
Yep.
the cards,
It's one of the
tarot
draws.
size.
Rubbing stuff
Osprey
in that.
Games is really lighting it up, man.
This game I have not played.
It's fun one.
It's 3 players. Like if it wasn't for the fact that it being 3 players, I would have already got it to the table with my wife. But it needs that third player.
It does for the trick taking part of it. Yep.
Let's see. Have you guys played Arcs yet? Any thoughts? We had a phone call that came in. Aaron from
yeah.
Columbus, Ohio, got to play it. We have not had opportunities to play it.
Yep.
But what it did get us thinking about is trick taking in board games, which is why Brian Burrow is on the table, because we busted it out just to have a conversation about it to compare. We're hoping to hear from someone who's played Brian Burrow and Arcs to kind of compare how they use that trick taking mechanism in the game, compare and contrast that.
Unfortunately, I don't know of any. Well, neither of us have arcs, and I've not heard of anyone in our immediate
Group.
game
I have
group
not.
that has
No.
it. It was at Dice Tower, and it was always being played. I saw arcs on the table. Every time I walked around the
really?
game hall, I saw arcs out, and I'm like, "What is this game, Arcs?" Like I didn't even know about it, so I totally missed it on Kickstarter when it came out. I probably wasn't paying attention to it, but it's interesting, definitely.
I sat and watched a group of folks play it. And I felt awkward standing there, but I wanted to see it being played. It's not huge. It fit on the Dice Tower table,
Really?
which is about our size. It's about this size of a table.
Okay.
So that stands out for me. That's important.
It's all the hotness right now. Yep.
Very cool.
Hotness wise, I was talking about Radlands, the Cult of Chrome, the new expansion coming out at Gen Con, which I am excited about. It adds, I believe, like 30 something camps. So all new camps, but then it also takes about a dozen of the cards and camps and rebalances them.
Okay.
So it does some rebalancing to get rid of some of the overpowered cards
one
and
tank that
underpowered
just-
cards. Hey, don't be hating on that one. That was an awesome card. That Mobile City. That was that movie. I can't remember the name of that movie.
Oh, the on
city-
the big treads.
Yeah, the giant city. They just went around eating up other cities.
Oh, what was that called?
That was a weird one, but that's what it reminded me of on Radlands.
Yeah.
And then Wrath of Fire Mountain, that was brought up last week by a friend of the show, Chris. He called in and talked about that one. Put it on our radar because it is who is it? It's
Eric Lang
and Praise Be.
Phil Walker Harding.
Phil Walker Harding.
Yeah, and that just got reviewed on the Dice
Tower.
I
today.
just watched it today.
I did too.
And they gave it good
I stopped watching the moment it's like it's going on my list and I'm buying this, and I even stopped watching. I didn't care no more when Tom said it's like my little Blood Rage. So I'm like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
But no, I went back and watched. I didn't watch the how to play. I just went straight to the end, right?
Yeah.
To watch. I like listening to people talk about
reviewed.
how they felt.
Yeah.
Right. When he said that, I stopped watching and went right back to show me how it plays. And watching the how it plays, it does kind of feel like it would be my little Blood Rage.
A little bit, yeah. Moving the stuff around felt kind of weird. Moving the
Area control.
yeah, the different area. Well, yeah, and manipulating that because you change the size of the areas and the multipliers and everything by just sliding that little volcano.
You got
tile
your little
around.
Yggdrasil volcano area that gets
Yeah.
filled in, which then triggers the battle, the scoring.
I'm
is
interested in
interesting.
playing it because
You're hiring monsters and putting rings on them to bring them to your little clan. I don't know. It's like, okay, I could play this. And what stinks is my boys now. My youngest boy is 13. Let me stop. My youngest boy is 8 months.
Yeah.
What used to be the youngest is 13. So I don't know if it's going to be past him, right? Age-wise, Rob. I don't know how you like your boy's 13, 12,
Yeah.
13. I don't know if it's past that age yet.
I don't know.
I'm hoping it's not.
Be close.
He's
Yeah.
usually the Phil Walker Harding, the king of like family accessible games, Target and
Yeah, because your boy's 9, 10?
10.
Right. So how many more years do you think we can get out of that game with those kids?
I don't know. Depends on like would you play the game without the kids? You know.
I would play Caesar's Empire without the kids.
Right.
I have.
We have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might work for me.
Yeah.
That's all my news articles for me that I was excited about. Oh, and Wayne, what are we doing about this Rolling Realms Redux?
Oh.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Jump into that.
That's in the
Bought it.
news. I got my email saying it's out orders are up.
Did you? I already got my email that's been shipped.
Oh really?
Shipped.
Wow.
yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
I'm like, I haven't played my copy in over a year.
Again, this is my like completionist. I have Rolling Realms, and I've been buying all the packs because they're like $250 a pop every time they come out. So I have every pack that's come out, and my box is about full. And then this came out.
Time for new box.
Rolling Realms Redux. It's got 12 new realms that have never been a thing. And what sold me, well, three things sold me. The new realms, okay, fine. I already have 25. I don't know what I need more. But now it'll hold everything ever and in the future. Within reason. He's like, now if we come up
Says the guy who bought the wine crate and the Big Bird box and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I still have plenty of room in the Big Bird box and the wine crate for more content if he ever does it. But he basically said, he even said on his live stream this week that, I mean, it would have to take a lot of packs before they fill this box. So, all right, so a new box so I can break up my old Rolling Realms box and throw that in the garbage, right? Because I do that. Because I'm looking at your tapestries that should all be in one box.
yeah.
There's tons of room. And,
Yeah.
we could, you have me come over here one day. I'll create
Wayne will
tons of room here
reorganize for you.
man.
Yeah.
I still have I think I have 2 copies of Rolling Realm. One's still in shrink.
Giveaway.
But you know what really like got me putting this on my list to talk about is that little
Travel.
extra.
I'm getting that. Yeah, I'm getting that. The travel one. Yeah. So anyway, so everything in one box, and it comes with a little travel box inside
That
of
is
it.
awesome.
So after you open it up, you put all your Rolling Realm stuff in there. You pop out this little box that you could then take Rolling Realms to go with you. And so like Rolling Realms is not a big box to begin with, but once you put all of them in there, it gets a little heavy. So hey, we're gonna go to the bar one day. I could just throw in 6 or 7 different realms, a couple pens, 2 dice, and now I got a little travel thing. I can throw that in my backpack. That
Like a card size box, like a card box
yeah,
size.
it's just size of the box that fits some realms, 2 dice, and the thing. I'm like, that's cool.
That is awesome.
And then the price, it was like
$25.
$25, and then it's $20 if you're a champion, or something like that. And it's even more. So it was like,
Now they had a couple of packs on there that were premiering. They called it premiering, I think.
Did I miss those? I don't know. I gotta see if I missed those.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if that was something that was a must get or.
I don't know. I have to go look and see if I missed a couple.
I guess
I
it's
have
must
them all.
get now.
But I've
He's
played-
shaking, folks. He's
Yeah,
shaking.
I'm shaking. No.
Withdrawal.
But no, what I have
He's
done,
twitching.
I'll throw this out there for those people who, like, I'm not the biggest solo gamer in the world. Although I've played a more solo games this year than probably I have in the past. What I do like about Rolling Realms, though, is Jamie has played on his YouTube channel. There's like 200 games of it out there where, like, you could just, while you're watching it, you can play against him So
Yeah, because the dice are shared. The two dice are rolled, and everyone shares the results, and then marks their own cards.
So anytime you can just anytime, any place, you can just pop out a couple of the cards and play the same thing. So, like, if I go away for business in the future, I might, in my little travel box, put in a couple of sets that match games that he played online, and then I can just go and play it.
And compare your score to him.
Pretty much go to him. So yeah, it's kind of cool. I like it.
We did that.
Yeah, we did that with during COVID. We did a lot of that with Welcome to.
Welcome to, yeah.
Robert and I would do games of Welcome to solo version, like the solo rules, and then told folks to post up their scores afterwards, and we get comments from people like months later saying, "I played. Here's my score."
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we started that.
So, Chad,
Head of the curve again.
yeah. So Chad Stilson says, "Sorry, I missed the call," and you could say that Arx is trick taking adjacent. So he's another agreement there.
Okay.
And then he said that he's super stoked about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Unmatched news.
Yes, the new Unmatched one.
Yeah.
It's the cooperative version when the
Yeah, that's the thing. It says adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping to put my raptors up against some turtles.
You gotta make those turtles cooperative,
At least-
right?
Sure, there'll be rules to use them in the
Reptile on reptile action.
Yeah.
Something like that. What does he say down there?
Yeah, he said after this box, it's going to be only his games that the new going forward.
Oh, Stonemeyer.
Yeah, Stonemeyer. So
What?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's 30 or 40 different realms, and it probably is getting a little bit saturated. So he's just going to only do his games going forward.
That's the cool part. Like there's space base and
Yeah, but now I've got like 40 of them, so I'm good.
yeah.
I got enough to play that game forever. So
I need to. I was gonna table it again, and I don't think Melissa's ever played it. So I was like, I'll table it again, and I'll introduce it to Melissa. And if it's a hit there, then it might, because that little travel box that got
cool.
me.
It's
That
it really
that
is
stuck with me.
Kind of is a genius thing. If you have a game that is a roll and write specifically, or any other game where like you don't need the whole box to play, and you have this little travel. That's like that sold me as soon as I saw
What's the size of the regular of the box then?
They're
versus...
like Terra-sized cards.
Well,
you
the
can see
box
it
is over there. You see it's
Right
under
there.
tapestry.
Right. Oh, yeah,
the
for
regular
that,
box is
but-
probably like it's like King of Tokyo size.
But the new storage box they're selling is
Yeah.
so it's a pretty big box.
No, it's only a little bit bigger than the Rolling Realms box as it is now.
Okay.
But then in it comes with this just a little tarot-sided box that's for travel. Take it with you to travel. So I mean, yeah, you can travel with the Rolling Realms box.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
But
yeah.
That's
I mean,
not like pocketable.
it's not pocketable.
Okay.
Right? I can't throw it in my backpack and carry it around with me. Like or especially like I'm going to the bar tonight. I can just grab this little box and go instead of the whole box. I don't know. It was cool. It sold me.
And unlike sea salt and paper, you can actually open the box without hurting your hands.
I'm kind of liking that game more. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm on a roller coaster ride with
I'm
sea salt
playing
and
it.
paper.
I'm playing it a lot. I like it.
I got to get it more. I'm only tabling it in person, so I got to get more plays of that in person.
On BGA. Yeah.
Those are my news articles. I didn't see you guys post up anything in our Google Doc about news articles. Did I miss any from y'all?
No, not yet. I'm just waiting for Gen Con. There's a million releases coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Couple of games I'm looking for. I'm all in on the kids table board games.
Yeah. I don't even talk about
I
that.
really
I
like.
think he bought stock. I think
I had no, I bought one of the
he
games.
has an
already.
agenda.
They got a new game coming, a little card game called like Coffee Bars, which is a little cafe, like coffee cafe, and they're all capybaras. And so like I'm gonna have to get that because my kid just went and pet capybaras. So and it's good. I like though all of the kids table board games, they use similar iconography, and so if you can teach your kid one of those games, so Creature Comforts, there's 7 other games now that the iconography is carried through that line, which is cool.
Smart.
It's almost like Shem Phillips. Like
Oh, yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
Learn one of
Similar,
those
yeah.
games. You get
But
them,
for kids.
get them all.
So,
yeah.
it's good.
Mm.
So yeah.
games played. So we went and talked about some news. Games played. I think for me, Regicide has been on my list because I don't play solo games except for when I do. So I've been playing some Regicide solo in card form, the actual the card, and that has a lot to do with the Board Game Barrage podcast. Board Game Barrage podcast, I think out of California. One of the hosts and his girlfriend went off to a trip to London, to England. I'll say that. And they spent their flight and time over there, most of their travels playing Regicide. And man, I've enjoyed Regicide, but I could never beat Regicide, and that's why I keep putting it away, because like I suck at it. Like I hate sucking at games.
That changed.
But you know what? I'm going to learn how to beat this game. So I like it. They really like it. They talked a little bit about strategy, and that's what got my juices flowing, because I couldn't figure out the strategy of the game. Like, how do I win this?
Yeah.
And I'll just spoilers. You can fast forward 30 seconds right now if you don't want to hear it. But some folks don't like hearing about strategy.
Yeah.
But one of the strategies they brought up, Rob, was dealing with the diamonds. The diamonds are whenever you play that suit, it allows you to draw cards to refill your hand. I had no idea how key and crucial that was to surviving through the rounds of the game. Because remember, in Regicide, you're playing with a regular basic deck of cards. You're playing against the jacks, kings, or queens and kings in that deck. Those are the villains. They're going to come up in that order. 4 jacks, 4 queens, 4 kings. In order to destroy a jack, because they're going to come up in order, you have to play a number of cards to do damage to them equal to their health. Jacks are health
11
of 20.
or 20.
Yep. Jacks are health of 20. Queens are health of 30, and kings are health of 40. But then if they're still alive after you play your card or set of cards, they do damage back to you equal to half that. So jacks will do 10 damage back, queens do 15 damage back, and kings do 20 damage back. You have to be able to discard a number of cards equal to that damage. So that's where I kept losing, is I'd hit them for some damage, but then when they hit me back, I'm like, I don't have enough pips here, cards value to be able to discard. Because you don't draw back until you play a heart. Whenever you play a heart, you trigger the suit. The suit allows you to draw. Or move cards, heal. Move cards from your discard to your draw pile. Then when you play diamonds, then you get to draw a number of diamonds equal to the card number you played. When you play spades, it does shielding. So it'll actually reduce the amount of damage that king, jack, or queen does based on the spades. And then clubs will deal double damage. Whatever the number is that you played, like a 4 of clubs equals total of 8 damage against that person. So it's all about knowing when to play what suits, right? As your draw pile reduces, you need to start playing hearts to bring back cards from the discard back into your draw pile. When your hand starts to deplete, you need to play diamonds to bring them back into your hand, so you have health enough to be able to do damage and take damage, right? So I started to figure out, and I won my first game. All that to say is I won my first game. I did it.
One out of what?
Probably 100. Because I taught Mike and Dan like years ago at Escape WinterCon.
Yep.
And this is one that I have the decks, the actual official decks of cards, and I just can't beat, but I finally got my win.
Yay.
There it is. Regicide, got it played.
Last 2 comments here. Aaron Clark, he backed 20 Strong campaign, and it has the same feel, being able to take a small box to go when you're traveling. So it's good. And then he sold on the Roland Rome's Redux also. So there you go.
Nice.
And I love that small box that Regicide comes in. It's like the rules and the cards are in a little tuck box. It's right in line with the Redux. Something you can throw in your backpack or bag and even your pocket and just take with you and have. Nice. That's what I played.
Last couple of minutes. I think we've been through the games played. What about
what? It's already 11?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Wrapping them up.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not
Oh, there you go.
Time's flying. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you, callers.
What you guys watching anything new? We got a couple minutes. We haven't talked about.
Before I get into that, 2-player Thunder Road.
Ooh, okay.
I messed something up, and I want to give y'all a caution. If you're playing Thunder Road, you're playing 2 players. There's a special 2-player rule, small box in the rule book somewhere, very easy to skip over. You don't play until somebody's dead. You play until you've gone through 5 tiles. So we just kept flipping and adding tiles, flipping and adding tiles, flipping and adding tiles. I'm like, I feel like this is going to go on forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's when I started rummaging through the rule book.
Okay.
Yes.
5 tiles.
At 2 players, you just first one to get to the finish line on the 5th tile.
5th tile or dead.
That's the other one I played. Show wise, Suits, man. We are still stuck on Suits. We are in
Is
season.
there another new season, or is the new season already out? and
I
it's
think
done
the
again?
last season
of the new one.
of the newest ones
Okay.
just came out. We're on season 4. I think VidAngel runs it up to 8 seasons on there.
Okay.
Solid.
Yeah, it's. I think
Solid.
my wife's watched that. I haven't watched it yet, but that's on her list that she watches. What about you?
Never seen it. No, never have seen it.
You watching anything good?
And
no.
timeless though. Let me say that.
Yeah.
Because that had to be 9 years ago. 8 years ago when the show came out.
Still works.
It doesn't feel dated. It doesn't feel like you're watching, and I think they do that on purpose. They did it on purpose, right? Number one, they all tend to wear business attire suits, so that tends to be timeless on its own. You're in like an office space, nothing too crazy design wise, and then they limit the outside activities, like it's mostly set in the office, so you're not seeing cars and aesthetics of the building or the scenery to really date it. So it fits in today's date. So Suits, recommended.
Nice. Rob, you watching anything good?
Nothing particular. My
Nothing,
daughter's
really.
been out of town, so we haven't done a whole lot of TV watching. No.
I know that we're watching Ted Lasso with our kid, and he's loving it. He wants to go to DragonCon this year and cosplay as people from the show, so that's kind of fun. But last 2 weeks, I've watched the new Monster Universe from start to finish. So that Godzilla, King Kong, and then there's Monarch. There's the 4 movies, and then the Apple TV show Monarch with Kurt Russell, and it's awesome. Like they've done a good job of this like Kaiju, Godzilla, like King Kong, but creating kind of this overarching universe that connects them all has been fun. Monarch is really good. They're gonna come out. They have Monarch season 2. Kind of all the flashbacks and the way they just the building the world, the larger monster universe world has been. It's like, I figured they tried to redo that with like the Mummy and Frankenstein and all those with Tom Cruise, and it bombed. And it's like, well, they clearly hit the nail on the head here, and they've been fun. So between HBO and Apple TV, they have all of them. So I did all 4 movies in the Monarch in the last week or so, and it was fun. It was a good watch.
Cool. My son and I, my oldest son and I, we watched Twisted Metal.
Oh, so fun.
yeah.
Episode 1 of Twisted Metal.
That's a 2-minute show on VidAngel.
It was okay.
It's just fun.
It's
It's just fun. It's popcorny. It's like the
It's
zombie
so
show.
corny.
It was that zombie show they did too on Sci-Fi that was like the over the top.
It is.
I forget the name of it.
And I
now.
guess I didn't expect it. The actor plays Falcon in the Marvel series, and it caught me off guard as to how purposely corny
Z Nation.
the show was. Z Nation
is just an over the top corny zombie show, and it's very similar to Twisted Metal, just as silly as can be.
But Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Yeah.
she's in it.
It's hilarious. And did you play the video game? Back in the day?
Sandman from Spider-Man, the guy who played Sandman, he's in it.
Yep. Now, did you play the video game?
Yes, I
love
loved
it.
the
We all
video
love
game.
the video game. And and you haven't watched the whole series.
No,
Just-
because we watched episode 1,
Oh, you gotta
and
keep
I was
watching.
disappointed.
No, you gotta keep watching.
I was like, "This is
because when they go
stupid."
to Vegas and the ice cream truck comes in, you're like,
okay. So I gotta
Sweet Tooth.
stick a little
Yeah,
longer.
it's-
So I immediately turned off. We didn't go into second episode.
Yeah,
I
keep going.
introduced him to Fallout.
Okay.
So for the 4th time, I am now watching
Fallout
the
again.
Fallout TV series.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
4th.
For filming season
I
2
gotta watch
now.
this
And
again.
my son agreed. Like, that is a well done
Yes, it's
video
phenomenal.
game
Yes.
port.
Adaptation, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that was interesting.
Twisted
That drew
Metal.
you in.
Twisted Metal is just it's zany, stupid fun. It's not meant to be taken seriously.
I don't know. Okay, I get it. It's a guy by himself in a car. Without the self-talk, there would be no audio, right?
Right.
No narrative, no dialogue. It's all the self-talk.
The first episode was rough. It gets better after the first episode.
Hang in there.
And I
Yeah,
love
that's
how
right.
they went through the mall in episode 1. It was like the 90s mall. There's like
Yeah.
EB Games.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
And he
old
runs
days.
through the video games, and then like a copy of Twisted Metal like hits his window screen,
Oh.
and he's looking at it all weird, like, what is that? And then the windshield wiper blows it off. So there were some moments.
corny.
that very corny.
Very corny.
Twisted
Sounds like it.
Metal.
But it was
Sounds
fun.
like
It was fun.
That's it.
Cool. All right,
That's
guys.
11. That
Takes
11
us-
o'clock
takes us
took a
past.
lot faster than I thought. Again, the Kitchen family. check them out in our link if you're willing to donate to the family to help them get through the loss of a Beans and Dice friend of the show, as well as a friend personally of Robert and I. We will be at the services, the memorial services this weekend, Saturday at 11 a.m. I think the visitation is at 10 a.m. in Lutz. The link in there has the info for you Beans and Dice folks in the Tampa area who know Lonnie. That's where we'll be celebrating his life. Life is short. Hug a loved one tonight. Let them know you care. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Wayne.
And we're the Beans and Dice Podcast.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Good night, everybody.